Hello, Drift fans here in the building around the globe. This is the O'Reilly's Auto Parts title fight, sponsored by Gum Out, the final round of the Formula Drift Championship, presented by Blackview Dash Cameras. Can you make some noise around the world so they can hear you, drifting world? Don't even need to ask you, stomp your feet, get loud. The championship is still up for grabs. We have a packed house. This is the House of Drift. Let me hear you one more time. Send it! You're about to meet your top 16 drivers. Are you ready, drifting world? All right, let's start with our first car part. So here we go with our first car part. He's got that brand new O'Reilly graphic and wrap. See if that luck of the Irish comes his way. In the O'Reilly Gum Out SR by Toyota 86 on hand-cooked tires. Say hello to Ryan Turk. Next up, his Drift Alliance brother. He is in contention for a 3-time championship here under the lights of Irwindale. He's in the NOS Energy Drink 370Z on hand-cooked tires. It is Chris the Force Forsberg. Coming up next down the line, his car operated by Chris Forsberg Racing. He is another Pennsylvania boy, East Coast. In the hand-cooked tires 370Z, it's Jeff Stone Cold Stoneback. The bright blue nose of this Danville, California resident, the chief farmer of the baby farm. In the Mobile One Falcon Tire Safecraft Racing Equipment, it is The Rock, Tyler McQuarrie. Coming up next, a Southern California resident, grew up drifting this very track, and here in Southern California, in the Drift Paddock Falcon Tires 350Z on Koenig wheels, it is the Awesome Possum, Pat Murdott. Coming up next from Hong Kong, in the Sogun Motorsports Team Orange Achilles Radial G37, say hello to Charles Ng. Continuing the international affair, coming to us from Finland, in the Achilles Radial S15, it is Juha Rittinen. Moving on down the line, his best finish is second place. He was one clipping point away from his first ever victory. Coming to us from Latvia, the Latvian lover, HGK Motorsports, Achilles Radial, mass-powered BMW, Kristaps Blues. Look at that, you got Hong Kong, you got Finland, you got Latvia, and now we're moving to Lima, Peru. Coming to us from Lima, Peru, in the Nitto Tires IMR Monster BMW, it is Mr. Alex Hilbrun. Originally from Lithuania, now living in Wrightwood, California. He is in contention for a top 3 finish. How's he going to do tonight in the ARC Performance Field Suspension Falcon Tires Hyundai Genesis Coupe? Edimus Ori Bakshis. Next up, we have our #1 qualifier and recipient of the Black Magic check and a case of some Black Magic product. And the check being presented by Kate Noble, National Account Manager of ITW Global Brands for O'Reilly Auto Parts. Congratulations to our #1 qualifier and recipient of that Black Magic #1 qualifier check. Say hello to Formula Drift veteran, Turn 14 Distribution, Falcon Tire, Subaru, BRZ, Daijiro Yoshihara. Moving on down the line, our most recent winner coming out of Texas. He has a brand new livery. He has seen red in more ways than one. In the Gears of War for Falcon Tires, Lucas Oil, Casino Matrix, the Beast from the Bay, 777, Matt Field. Originally from Kalamazoo, Michigan, the home state of the Ford Motor Company. He pilots the Roush Performance Ford Mustang on Falcon Tires. Simply known as 3 letters, JTP, Justin Pollock. Moving on down the line, he is the lead scientist, originally from the 808, now the 702, Las Vegas. What's going on? He's all smiles now. He is in the Get Nuts Laboratory Hand-Cooked Tires S14. It is Forrest Wang. Aloha. Coming second overall into this round, he is your defending Formula Drift champion. Seeing him grow up and develop, and now he's in contention for a back-to-back championship. It'll all unfold tonight. He's in that Rockstar energy drink. Next in tires, SR by Toyota TC from Norway. It is Fredrik, the Norwegian Hammer Osmo. And last but definitely not least, this gentleman is Smiles for Miles and Styles for Miles. In a car deemed the Rad Bull. In the four-rotor twin-turbo Red Bull Nitto Tires Mazda MX-5. Say cheer, bro, to Mad Mike Weddett! Those are your top 16 drivers. Irwindale, let them know. Are you ready to send it? An action-packed evening is all about to unfold. Get your cameras out, hashtag FDIRW at Formula D, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Share it with the world. Let's blow up the internet here at Irwindale. Who's going to win tonight? Who's going to get second? Who's going to get third? But who's going to win the World Championship and the Formula Drift Championship presented by Blackview Dash Cameras? Well, lighten them up in a blaze of glory. As right now, it looks like we're going to be shooting out some shirts, but also, as we clear out our top 16 drivers, our top 16 drivers shooting out some shirts. And Brandon, you down there? Brandon Scarpelli's down there. Hey.
Where is it?
Well, we're taking a photo down here, and if you could take a look at the big screen. This gentleman's dropping to a knee right here, and that is Mateo and Candy. He's proposing to his wife. And there is Mateo and Candy. Mateo proposing to Candy. driving from Illinois, picking up a Miata, her dream car, and there it is, Mateo and Candy. Proposal there on track. And also, want to send a shout out to Christian and Erica, who on the track walk earlier, Christian and Erica, 2 proposals this evening here on the Formula Drift track. So congratulations to Christian and Erica for your engagement, and now Mateo and Candy, 2 proposals this night. So at this time, I'd like to bring it up here in the booth. I have a special guest. United States Air Force have been just such an instrumental part of the Formula Drift Championship, and we've been fortunate enough to be part of some oath of enlistments. But basically, I have a special guest up here, and Staff Sergeant Gutierrez.
Thanks, Jared.
Thank you. Thanks for coming up here. Let's get this right there. And basically, what's your title within the United States Air Force?
So my title is I'm right now I'm an Air Force enlisted recruiter. My prior job was supply logistics, and I support the C-5 and C-17 aircraft.
Really? That's
Correct.
Sweet. All right. So where are you originally from?
I'm from Murrieta, California.
Okay. So not too far from here. All right. So how long you been in the Air Force?
9 years.
9 years. And why did you initially enroll?
Just like all these other high school kids, I didn't have a plan.
Okay. All right. And now, what's your plan look like?
Plan is get my bachelor's, and then go for a master's, have a family, and then, just like a regular life.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's fantastic. And basically, do you have any hobbies yourself?
I like to hike, Laguna Beach,
sweet.
San Clemente. I like to eat in and out. I like to exercise and go to movies and just do a lot of things in Southern California.
And I got to ask, are you a car guy?
I'm not a car guy. I'm sorry.
But okay, no, you don't have to. So, but now are you a car guy coming to Formula Drift? I mean, are you liking this stuff or what?
I think, Jared, after today, I think I might be.
Sweet, right on. All right, who are you pulling for overall? Any particular car, color, make, manufacturer, driver?
I think the Gears of War.
The Gears of War, Matt Field. All right, are you a gamer yourself?
I am.
Okay, well, that's another hobby. Well, thank you so much, Staff Sergeant Gutierrez.
All right, Jared,
and thank you for all you do, and you and your fellow United States Air Force men and women. And thank you so much, as my grandpa was in World War II as well, and he's still alive, so thank you. Well, thank you to the United States Air Force, and again, those young men and women taking the oath of enlistment and dedicating themselves to what I think is the greatest country in the world, the United States. So, again, we're about to see our top 16 drivers do battle. We'll kick it off here with head-to-head action. I am Jared Deenda. Ryan Sage joining me now. We'll get our 3 judges ready to go. And we are about to kick it off here. Are you ready, Irwindale, the House of Drift? The O'Reilly Auto Parts title fight sponsored by Gum Out. And here we are, the O'Reilly Auto Parts title fight sponsored by Gum Out, as this is the final round, 8 of 8 of the Formula Drift Championship presented by Blackview Dash Cameras. I'm Jared Deenda. With me is Ryan Sage. Ryan, the 16 is set. We saw some crazy things in the 32, notably Vaughn Gittin Jr. going out. He was in contention for that championship. Odi Bakshish was in 4th. Now he can potentially get a top 3, but let's take a look back at the 32. I mean, what stands out in your mind?
I mean, there was definitely a lot of craziness here. Drivers really, having a tough time acclimating to being high on the bank. Forsberg, one of the guys that's doing that, obviously leading the points chase right now, was able to get through Philippe Gay. But as you said, with Vaughn Gittin Jr. going out in the top 32, it now has gone down to Chris Forsberg and Frederick Osbo, and it'll be where either of those drivers exit that will determine who wins the championship here tonight. And this is the battle that we were talking about, Jared. As Vaughn was winning a one-more-time battle with Patrick Morgan.
The second one more time. That's the 3rd battle.
Yeah, and then unfortunately, he was at the beginning of the run, so he decided not to take the second run, bout out of competition, and then we moved on to this crazy battle here as well.
Yeah, Ken Gucci goes in hard, he counters, boom, Mad Mike not only hits Ken Gucci, but also the wall, sustaining some damage as it stands right now. Mad Mike with debt, a lot of 10, 5. Unfortunately, couldn't fix the car. Odi Bakshish, he's in contention for a top 3 finish. He finished 4th overall last year. Where do you stand? Where do you think he has a shot of potentially moving up? Because right now he's got to go against Forrest Wang.
Well, Odi is certainly in a very good position here if he can continue the momentum that he's had from earlier events in the season to move up in the ranking for the championship. Had a great battle with Pat Gooden here, and he looks like that he's really in form. Well,
there's Frederick Osbo. He was the final battle of the top 32. And Dean, it looked like he was going to apply the pressure, and then he just loops it. Watch right here. Frederick Osbo kind of got a good break. He did have a strong lead run, But man, Dean was out for blood in that Oracle Lighting, Gas Monkey Energy, Dodge Viper on Achilles.
He sure was. He looked incredible in the chase, but unfortunately with that big mistake, it gave Frederick Osbo the edge that he needed, and he's one step closer to battling for the championship.
Oh man, this is unreal. Again, not only are we crowning our 1, 2, and 3 of Irwindale, this is our final round. It started in Long Beach, not too far from here. Was that in April? I mean, time has just absolutely flown by, and here we are, crowned a champion. It's up to 2 gentlemen. One of them is going for a back-to-back and his second championship, and the other gentleman, 1, 2, 3, is potentially going for his third. So Chris Forsberg, Frederick Osbo, who's it going to be? Ryan, I mean, I'm pumped.
Yeah, me too. It's going to be an exciting top 16, and we're ready to get things underway.
All right, so without further ado, we will throw to basically our battles, right? I mean, what do we got next here? I mean, basically, we're ready. When we come back, we're going to be seeing some top 16 head-to-head battles. So much drama, and as he said, it's do or die. Speaking of die, Daijiro Yoshihara is going against Jeff Stoneback. This is our first battle, and as you can see, they've gone against each other one time before, with Daijiro Yoshihara besting Stoneback. So, Yoshihara, could he make it a perfect event? He's our #1 qualifier. We saw him on the podium earlier this year in Atlanta, and he is firing all cylinders. V8 to be exact, with turbos under the hood, turn 14 distribution on the side, ARC design, and then you have that of Falcon tires on the corners. Jeff Stoneback, Hankook tires on the corners. Here we go. Daijiro Yoshihara initiating into that first rear clipping zone. Bringing it high and tight. Stoneback, a lower line than that of Yoshihara. Yoshihara looking dialed, precision driving from him. Stoneback trying to tighten it up. And here comes Yoshihara out to the outer zone. Stoneback massaging it into the second outer clipping zone. Dialing it in. Man, Yoshihara is just flawless at this point. I mean, just a few points off, but really properly executed.
Yeah, Dai is probably the coldest driver on the circuit right now, having gone first and by in top 32. Comes out, stays consistent in his lead run here, Ryan Lantain, as he comes down into the inside corner here. You pretty tight on that first inside clip. Anything to pick up here with Jeff Stoneback and Daijiro Yoshihara?
Well, Jeff Stoneback wasn't as close as he should have been on initiation, and he had to dip down to regain his proximity. So he did get down pretty close, if not over that yellow line that we have painted mid-bank. So not ideal from him, but it did get him the proximity back, and it gave him an opportunity to put on a little bit of pressure throughout the rest of the course. So, of course, it'll be held against him on the initiation side of things and the early bank, but we'll see what happens as Dai tries to better him in the chase position.
And Stoneback, if you can recall, he had a phenomenal run in 32. I mean, he had a solid initiation, some little flubs here and there, but he looks very committed. All right, so Stoneback will lead. Yoshihara will give chase. Our first battle of the top 32. Here comes Stoneback through the start chicane. Stoneback with a little feint entry. And Stoneback dropping down Yoshihara, modulating his line or kind of adapting. And Stoneback, a good initiation into that second outer zone. Oh, and Stoneback tapping the wall, stays in it, gets out of shape, but then throws it back into angle. Whoa, Yoshihara powers through with angle.
Well, it got a little exciting there towards the end, Jared. You can see that little flick right there by Jeff Stoneback. Now he's going to be on like a very low line here. You want to see him up a bit higher here. Dai maintaining close proximity, keeping him in his sights right here. Falls back for a second here, but then watch Stoneback. He's going to tap the wall here, lose a little bit of angle, have to kind of reinitiate. Dai stays composed, wraps around this last inside corner, and then Lantain, from your perspective, what happens right here on the last outer zone?
Yeah, it looked like Stoneback was getting a little close to the wall. He did make contact with it in practice and kind of moved one out of the way, so he might have been a little bit afraid of the wall. He might have lifted a little bit, but Dai was right there on him and did a great job in the chase position.
So let's take a look here as we are about to find out Stoneback or Yoshihara, and slide him right for Daijiro Yoshihara. As Dai Yoshihara. All right, so as Yoshihara advances, Stoneback knocked out. As we have a special guest up here in the booth, and man, a synonymous name with motorsports, you know, cars in general, the conception of cars and then into motorsports. Henry Ford III, Global Marketing Director at Ford Performance, joining us here at the House of Drift. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. It's great to be here. This is awesome.
Yeah, and you know, the Ford product, you know, we've seen it develop through the years of drifting. Overall, what do you think of the sport drifting?
It's fantastic. I mean, it's a great atmosphere. It's so awesome to watch the cars go around the track and smoke everywhere, and people are loving it. Great energy. It's a blast.
And Ford Performance overall, just you guys have developed, again, from the conception of the car to where we are now with vehicles like the RS, like Ford Raptor, but then also complementary parts that you throw on, post-purchasing.
Yeah, and we're really, I think, paying a lot of attention to the performance business right now, and you mentioned it. We've got some great products coming out right now, and we're really really trying to rebuild our performance parts catalog as well, because we know there's a huge market for that in the aftermarket, and a lot of those folks are out here tonight, and so we want to provide the parts that they're looking for their Mustang or their RS or whatever.
And also, some people are buying crate engines. They're buying Coyotes, and they're throwing them in S14s or S chassis. So a lot of Ford, power plants are under the hood of very diverse vehicles.
Yeah, and we love that. I mean, the folks out here are some of our best customers. They're so enthusiastic and passionate about our brand, and that's exactly why we do what we do. It's for them.
Well, thank you so much, Henry Ford III. Again, Global Marketing Director at Ford Performance. Let's watch the show. Here we go. Moving right along. Christoph Blues, Juha Rintanen. Juha Rintanen from Finland. He will be leading this battle as Christoph's applying the pressure. Look at this, truly international affair. Finland versus Latvia. And here Christoph past that front clip into that second outer zone. And looks like Juha getting to the outer zone, making it look exciting. Christoph bringing it tight. Man, this is a boxing match, toe-to-toe, mano-a-mano. Finland versus Latvia, Nissan versus BMW. And Lantain, as you take a look at this run here, anything staying on your mind? You're kind of reviewing it with Hawkeyes.
Yeah, we're looking at the way that Juha was going throughout the course. He made a lot of corrections in the lead position, so you can see the car moving around a lot. He had a big slowdown there at inside clip 1, and you can see him pulling out angle. The car just didn't really look settled throughout the entirety of the course, whereas Kristoff's in the chase position really did a great job of applying pressure and kind of staying calm, even though the lead car was kind of all over the place there. So we're going to see how Kristoff's does now in the lead position, and we're going to be comparing those leads, so he's going to have to clean it up and make more of an impression than Juha did in the lead position.
Here we go. Kristoff's will lead. Juha Rintanen will give chase. Pretty exciting run. What do you guys think out there, Irwindale? Oh, come on. Really? I said, what do you say, Irwindale? Drifting world. So, Kristoff's will lead HGK Motorsports, Achilles radials. Both of the vehicles shrouded with some Achilles radial rubber. And Juha, it is allowed for that chase car to get the jump in the chase position. Here we go. Kristoff's initiating that rear clipping zone with authority, but dropping down. Juha. Oh, Kristoff throwing some more angle at it. Look at this, just working his way all across the track. Kristoff with some gangster angle there, now getting that rear clipping zone. Juha Rintanen struggling to catch up to Kristoff. Kristoff exits that rear clipping zone a little early, and then past the finish line, not getting out to the outer zone. There is an outer zone when you get to that K-rail. We've seen some drivers loop it. As we take a look at this again here, Sage.
Yeah, taking a look at Blues here, that blazing fast vehicle of his. You can see he initiates, but he's down kind of low. Then he starts working his way high. The judges want to stay consistent there. Juha struggling to keep his momentum up here. And you can see Blues a little bit of a deeper line, even though that he could be much deeper into that wall. So, Ryan, from your perspective, how low was Juha on his chase on the inside bank?
Yeah, it looked like he had a couple of corrections himself. He didn't position his car very well coming from inside clip 1 to outside zone 2 either. So he ended up quite a bit deeper than we'd like to see him there. In my opinion, it looked like Kristoff's might have barely won the lead, but I think Kristoff's made a much better case for himself in the chase position.
So, slide him left for Juha Rintanen, slide him right for Kristoff's Blues. Which way is it going? Andy, Ryan, and Brian saying, Andy says one more time. Ryan says Kristoff's, and Brian says one more time. Well, I mean, it wouldn't be this event if we didn't have another one more time, right? So we are seeing another one more time, as we did see Blues earlier do one more time there with Michael Essa. Thank you very much. So Blues definitely getting a lot of track time here. Next up, Ryan, this is a big one. Chris Forsberg, Patrick Merdaunt. You can see 4 battles between them. Chris Forsberg winning 3 out of the 4. At least Patrick Merdaunt with 1 victory. Horsepower-wise, Pat Merdaunt saying 650. Chris Forsberg, about 1,000 horsepower. So Forsberg comes in to this round with the points lead. We saw Patrick Mordaunt defeat Von Gittin Jr., or better yet, Von Gittin Jr. go into the wall after 2 more times. You got a 370Z, a 350Z. Not you know, Pat Mordaunt running the LS under the hood, Forsberg running the VK56, which is the Nissan engine under his hood. No power adders to either vehicle. There's some nitrous spray. But as Forsberg will lead, he qualified 4th, just outside of that coveted number 3 spot. Pat Mordaunt qualifying 20th. And here we go. Forsberg leads, Mordaunt chases. Forsberg initiates into that first rear clipping zone. Some wavering there from Pat Mordaunt. Forsberg high on the bank. Now Mordaunt settled. Into that first front clip goes Forsberg, as does Mordaunt in tow. Into the second rear clipping zone. Forsberg tapping the brakes, working it in. Mordaunt keeping a consistent distance behind Forsberg. Zeroes in on both of those clipping zones. The front clip and that rear clip with Forsberg out front.
Well, it's really going to be difficult to shake the consistency of Chris Forsberg here. You can see he gets out to a pretty good jump, nice and high on the bank, comes down just a little bit early there, but Mordaunt quite a ways back, trying to make up ground here as Forsberg is on the outside of that inside clip, coming across the center here. Now Mordaunt does close the door a little bit on the inside as Forsberg tries to stay deep into that zone. He was about maybe 2 feet off there, tight on that inside clip, and then reaching out to that last outer zone there. So Ryan, from your perspective there, what are the takeaways from Forsberg and Mordaunt run number 1?
There's not a whole lot to talk badly about Chris's run. It was really clean. He was high on outside zone 1. If you want to get nitpicky, he could have been a little bit higher on the beginning of outside zone 1, but really just a consistent flow throughout the course. Good maintenance of pace all the way through, really no corrections. On the other hand, Pat did have that correction at initiation where the car bobbled pretty severely, and it kind of set him back a little bit right off from the start.
You wonder how Pat Mordaunt is now going to initiate in that chase position. You saw those bobbles with him. You know, how is he now going to lead? And better yet, for Forsberg, how is he going to chase? You know, with that championship on the line, it's a lot of eyeballs on Forsberg and then also Energy Drink 370Z. Here we go. Pat Mordaunt out front. Pat Mordaunt initiates. Forsberg keeping kind of a bit of a safe distance here, taking that mid to high line as Mordaunt works it up. Here we go into that first front clip. Mordaunt and Forsberg right there. Oh, and Forsberg goes into the second outer zone. Forsberg on the wall. As Mordaunt, an unbelievable turn of events.
Well, whatever this call,
wow,
whatever this call ends up being, this will be a championship deciding call. No doubt about it. Whatever the judges decide here, this will be a championship decision level call. We've got Frederick Osmo on the other side of the bracket. He's facing Matt Field. We've got Chris Forsberg, who seemingly had an advantage after run number 1. Let's parse this on run number 2. Mordaunt way down on the bank. Forsberg closing. Mordaunt starts to sweep up, heads down on the inside. A little bit of straightening in there from Mordaunt. Now Mordaunt right there. Chris gets on the brakes, and then you can see Forsberg taps and then goes into the wall. So the determination of the fault for the contact is going to be the key factor here. You're going to want to see if Mordaunt was slowing up or if Forsberg was accelerating. Now, on first face, it does seem like Mordaunt might have been slowing up a little bit there, but we don't really see any apparent brake lights. So we need to and we do see brake lights from Forsberg. But as drivers will tell you left and right, there are so many ways that you can slow these vehicles down, and sometimes the brake lights can be misleading. But either way, whatever the judges decide, this will be a championship level deciding decision.
Wow, this is just a huge impact here in more ways than one for the overall championship. All right, so kind of letting Ryan Lantain breathe here, but taking a look at it. Ryan, what are we seeing here? You're talking with the judges, you're viewing every angle.
So what we're looking at is what was done by the lead driver in this scenario. Going back to the drivers meeting, what we were talking with the drivers about, we have our map. That is a slowdown area. It's a legal area, if you want to call it that. It's an area where we expect drivers to actually slow down to get their car set up for outside zone 2. So we're just looking to see if there's anything that that Pat did in the lead position that was we could consider legal or something that would have caused the crash. But from what we're seeing here, it just looks like he slowed down. There was nothing extreme, a little bit of an e-brake pull, but again, this is an area where we are allowing the drivers to slow down a little bit. So we're not sure if we can really put fault on Pat for this. It looks like Chris just got in a little too aggressively. You can see he got on the brakes. The brake lights did light up, but he just didn't get on the hard enough early enough and made contact, which then caused him to straighten.
So the judge is still reviewing all the angles. As you can see, the different angles here, and the 4 top 16. Make some noise for Chris the Force Forsberg. Pat Murdaunt, as they are waiting, this is the second portion of this, or the second run of this battle. So we've seen Chris lead, we've seen Chris chase, we've seen Pat lead, we've seen Pat chase. Can Pat Murdaunt basically, take down Vaughn Gittin Jr., take down Chris Forsberg, and then basically, it helps out Frederick Osbo. It's one step closer for as Osbo and his team are patiently waiting and seeing what's going on here.
Well, you definitely, the acceleration deceleration map that we brought up in the top 32 is definitely going to play a big role here, because there isn't like Ryan was saying, there is an allotted area where we know that the drivers are going to lift. And one of the ways that you can look at that as a fan is to look at when the smoke line stops and when it starts again. And if the smoke line has not started by the time they need to be out of that deceleration area, you can say that maybe they're decelerating a little bit longer than they need to. So maybe what we should do is bring up the ACEL decel map so people can take a look at it, and then once the judges put in their result, we will know what happened. Here it is here. So Ryan, walk us through this if you can on this course to give us an idea of exactly where the ACEL decel section is on that part of the course.
Yeah, so you can see just past inside clip 1, the red section right there is our decel area, and you can see that it actually goes into outside zone 2, which is right where the contact occurred. Yeah. So there's really no impropriety on Pat's part. He did what he was supposed to do, or was allowed, if you'd like to say, in that area, and it looks like Chris just came in a little too aggressively. There might have been a slight bobble from Pat, but nothing to cause something like this from Chris Forsberg in the chase.
There it is, Chris Forsberg giving a little wave one more time. He's going to exit out with his car. And again, a huge outcome here. What is going to happen, Murdaunt or Forsberg? And what's going to happen after this as Patrick Murdaunt, Andy, Ryan, and Brian. Pat Murdaunt gets the victory, taking out Chris the Force Forsberg. And there it is. It's unanimous as Murdaunt moves on. Chris Forsberg, insult to injury, and the car definitely has seen better days. So for Forsberg, he is pulled off, and Pat Murdaunt advances on. So now the next battle, as far as the championship goes, so an interesting turn of events there for Murdaunt and, of course, for Forsberg. And right now we throw it down to Laurent Nickel, who's with Dai Yoshihara, our #1 qualifier, and he's in the grade 8.
Dai, congratulations. You were the first qualifier, and you are moving on. So can you talk about what that does for your confidence?
Well, actually, I was struggling a lot in the practice last couple of days. So, I felt like I was way far away from qualifying #1, but somehow I got things together right before qualifying started, and then that was the first run that I did really good, and that was in the qualifying run, so it just worked out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So when you are struggling in practice, how do you reel it all back in and then qualify first?
Well, I think a lot of people are struggling this year. For some reason, the track feels a lot grippier than usual. So we need to set the car a little bit loose, which I didn't do for long time. But towards the end of the practice, we realized we need to loosen up the car, and then that worked out. And I just adapt my driving to the setup we did. Yeah.
And it's a love-hate relationship with some drivers at Irwindale. Why is that?
Well, I think a lot of people love this track because this is called House of Drift. I think this is the biggest venue, and we started drifting professionally here back in like 2003, 2004, and this is my first professional event that I competed, and this is the first place I totaled a car. Yeah, and then this is the first time I won the event back in 2006. So to me, I don't know about other people, but I have a lot of good and bad memories. But overall, I love this track, and this is my favorite for sure.
Dai, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Daijiro Yoshihara, a former Formula Drift champion himself. As we are now seeing Justin Pollock and Alex Hilbrun ready to do battle. Justin Pollock, the Roush Performance Ford Mustang on Falcon tires. Alex Hilbrun in that supercharged V8 BMW on Nitto tires. Two very aggressive. They have a really nasty flick. Let's see. This should be a fun one. Black and red. Let's see what we got. JTP will lead. And Alex Hilbrun will give chase. And here comes JTP. Justin Pollock initiates. Look at that. That's what I was talking about. That nasty flick. Alex Hilbrun works it in. Pollock throwing more angle at it. Tapping the wall, but staying in it. Hilbrun diving down way low. As Pollock, big angle. Hilbrun a bit shallow, shutting it down on that second outer zone. And Pollock pushing the foot through the floorboard. Fontaine taking a look at this. This is what I'm talking about with Pollock. He's got this nasty flick.
Yeah.
An interesting approach there on initiation.
That was, we're really looking at that as a double initiation. He went to throw the car and something didn't quite work out right, so he had to throw the car again, and he was definitely a little bit late on his initiation there, which is going to throw off the entire run. Now you can see he's throwing a lot of sparks throughout the course here. Not sure why Hilbrun ended up shutting down at the end. I don't know if that was a mechanical error, a mechanical issue. Clearly it is because he's sitting there waiting for a tow. So that'll be a 0 on Hilbrun's part, but we're going to have to look at the initiation again to see from Justin if that was a 0 on his double initiation.
So Alex Hilbrun is calling a competition timeout. That means he has a 5-minute allotment. So Hilbrun calls that comp timeout. We'll get him off course and see if we can continue with this battle or if he's done for the evening. Already some exciting stuff unfolding here when we return the top 16 here at the O'Reilly's Auto Parts title fight, sponsored by Gumout. This is the final round of the Formula Drift Championship, presented by Blackview Dash Cameras. So Hilbrun calls that competition timeout. That's a 5-minute allotment. We'll see if he can get back up to it. Talking about the line, but who is at the line right now? Juha Rintanen from Finland against Kristaps Blus, who is from Latvia. Ryan, we saw some pretty dynamic driving from these guys. They were kind of all over the place. They kind of have that ruin your day kind of flick and nastiness. Yeah,
and Blus in particular has really honed in on his chase skills as well, and we've seen that exemplified in rounds like Orlando, and hopefully we'll see another great battle here between these two competitors.
Yeah, he's that kind of guy, talking about Orlando, where he just turned it up. I think that confidence, like more seat time. This is only his sophomore season, and I think that's what happened in Orlando. Just came to fruition and just manifested itself. So here we go. Juha out front, Kristaps in chase. Look at that, already, door to door. Kristaps dropping down, maybe bit off more than he could chew, as Juha brings in that front flip. Kristaps does as well. How are they going to do here coming into the second outer zone? Standing on the throttle. Both of them within those brackets, past that front clip and into that rear clipping zone. It's pretty sketchy there when they cross that finish line out to that outer zone.
Yeah, Juha really put the rear end of his vehicle right on that last outer zone there. You can see right there, diving in is Kristaps Blus. Kind of has a little bit of a faltering there, falls back a little bit. Juha in the lead position. Big angle here as he tries to wrap into inside flip, going nice and tight there. And then right here, a little bit of a surging forward from Kristaps Blus. And then you can see both these guys just kind of surging, a couple little mistakes here and there. And then Ryan, from your perspective, Blus not with the big angle across the finish line, kind of a tighter line there.
He did a good job of maintaining proximity, but he did it at a cost. It took him some adjustment of his line, of his angle as well to maintain that proximity. He works hard, and we'll have to see how Juha does in his chase position. But Juha in the lead position, not the cleanest either. Had a couple little corrections. Really low angle at inside clip 2 especially. So he had a couple of little flubs as well. We'll have to see how Kristaps does now in his lead run.
Kristaps will lead. Juha giving chase. Kristaps out front. You can see Juha tapping the brakes. Again, the chase car can take a jump off the start light. Could see the start light in between the two drivers. There you see boom, boom, boom. The lights illuminate. When they extinguish, they can go. And looks like Juha not going for the jump, feeling confident. And here we go. Juha in chase as Kristaps initiates high. Juha dropping down a bit. And Kristaps out of that outer zone. He drops down early. Kristaps, a straight line approach. Look at, he's surging ahead. Kristaps, big angle, keeping it to the outside zone. Well executed. Oh, Kristaps dialing in. No, doctor, look at that. Tapping the wall just for a little impact in more ways than one.
Well, another fun battle to watch here between these two competitors. We take a look here at Juha Rintanen and Kristaps Blues. Kristaps taking the lead this time. Juha not really letting him get away, but you like to see him get a little bit closer. Juha kind of changes the angle a little bit so he can close the door here as Kristaps reaches down to that first inside clip. Now wrapping back around on the smaller oval on the inside. Still a couple little bit wavering from both drivers as Kristaps nice and tight on this inside clip here. He's going to put big angle in the car and then just right there rub that rear bumper right on the wall.
Interesting. I want to find out what Lantain says about that because, you know, obviously countering back. This is here with Kristaps in the chase position. This is the first battle of this battle, the first run of this battle. Ryan, what are you focusing in on here, Lantain?
That was Andy that asked for this replay of the first run. He had something that he wanted to see. Just looking overall at what was happening between both drivers. He did a really great job at the finish line there. Yeah. So it'll be on each of us to see how we feel about Kristaps tapping that wall at the finish line and how serious it'll be taken by each of us.
The drivers awaiting the verdict. Here we go. Slide him left for Blues, right for Juha Rintanen, Andy, Ryan, and Brian. Going to the judges. Andy says Juha Rintanen. Ryan says Kristaps, and Brian says Juha Rintanen. Juha getting the victory and taking out Kristaps Blues. And Lantain, you were, good word there, Ryan. Lantain going with Kristaps Blues 2-1. Lantain, elaborate, please.
I was just talking to Brian about what he was. He really liked the fact that Juha was higher on outside zone 1, and Kristaps was. Yeah. Okay, there was something to do with the angle at the finish line that Brian really liked. He really liked that. And right. I don't know if either one of them didn't like the wall tap.
So we will revisit again the Pollock-Hilbrun battle, and interestingly enough, Ryan Turk has yet to do battle this evening. He had a bye run on his first run of the 32 because he qualified second. And now, with Mad Mike Woodette's early retirement due to the 10-minute competition, basically 10-minute allotment because he wasn't at fault with Gucci, 5-minute of his competition timeout. He was not able to run, so Mad Mike is out. Ryan Turk will be in the Great 8 without even having to do battle. But, you know, hey, take it any way it comes, right?
Yeah, you know, it's definitely unfortunate. You know, we want to see as many battles as possible, and it's really hard to, you know, kind of flex the rules in order, you know, just to get two guys to compete because there's a lot of other things that fall out because of that. But certainly, I would love to see, you know, maybe a situation where, you know, you have something like that and you can make an extenuating circumstance, but unfortunately, you know, the way the rules are written is the way the rules are written.
Yeah, and I think you said it best before we, you know, finished the last round, or excuse me, the 32, before we went to break. I think you said you just got to keep it consistent because where might Mad Mike unfortunately had that circumstance, he had, you know, a few battles after him. But if it's Osbo, it's the final battle, we can't just, you know, abbreviate and make his shorter. So I like the consistency.
Sometimes it sounds, you know,
Harsh.
so much fun to be like, well, you know, let's just be your dictator and we'll, you know, make up the rules on the fly for the, you know, for the betterment of the sport. But that has its pitfalls as well. So
yeah,
that's why you gotta create a rule book that takes as many things into account, and when new things come up, you know, you make adjustments if it makes sense.
So we are. So we are finding out that Alex Hilbrun is out. He is not able to fix his vehicle. So Alex Hilbrun is out. So this will be a bye run for Justin Pollock. JTP Justin Pollock will have a bye run in his Roush Performance Ford Mustang. And he will just switch lanes here, and he advances on. So quick work there, unfortunately, for Hilbrun.
Yeah, I mean, another battle lost to attrition, unfortunately, and it seems, you know, as the seasons get longer and more events are added and you know, teams and drivers are pushing it, you know, the cars sometimes are just not going to hold, and unfortunately we've seen that quite a bit here today, much to the chagrin of, you know, myself and certainly some fans.
Some fans, if you have one in particular, right? Well, here's Justin Pollock's celebratory run to advance him on into the Grade 8. We just saw Ryan Turk in his bye run. It looked like he was putting it down. Look at Pollock. Pollock getting loose, getting pitted around that front clip into the second zone. The big Roush Performance R on the roof there as JTP crossed the finish line and advanced on to the Grade 8. Little piece of flair there for you. Falcon Tire Smoke-Filled Donut. 3 more battles left, Ryan, in the top 16. We've seen a couple one more times, and right now our girl on the ground, Laurette Nickel, has caught up with Chris Forsberg.
Chris, just a quick word to catch up with you. We saw you go into the wall on track. What happened?
Well, we felt great in the lead position. We put a couple lengths down on Pat as we did our first run, and the spotters were telling me over the radio, I guess Pat's car was set up very, very loose because they didn't have the power to handle the temperature drop in the track, giving a lot more grip out there. So I gave him a little bit of room on the bank and just slowly reeled him in and got on his door, coming off the bank through the inner clip 1, and as we entered into the lower bank, I flicked in, I was floating in with him, I hit the brakes twice, was getting on the e-brake and was expecting to get back in the throttle any second, and it just didn't happen. His car was able to keep on floating in there, and I touched his car with my front tire and just popped my car straight, and I went into the wall.
Were you surprised when that happened?
I mean, I wasn't expecting it at all. Like, at that point, when we're
away from Forsberg and his circumstance.
Right, yeah, because of where Forsberg's points are and his qualifying points, when you add that in and you look at the potential exits for Osbo, whether it's actually winning the event or second place, he needs to do one of those two, and he'll win the championship by about 5 points.
I mean, we are splitting hairs. We're talking about qualifying points. We're talking about, again, Osbo needs to get second or win. So he needs to go to the final battle in order to get that championship. And he's still in the 16. He will be our final battle here in the top 16. But right now, it's Tyler McCory and Charles Ng. All right, so here comes Tyler McCory. Tyler McCory initiating. Charles Ng, look at that. Getting close. Tyler McCory settled. Low on the bank. Ng applying the pressure. That's Sogan Motorsport. Oh, and then Ng. Very shallow in the transition, if any angle at all, as Tyler into that second rear clipping zone. Great proximity by Ng. But is he matching the angle? Tyler McCory, a pretty solid lead run.
Well, Jared, we haven't seen too many drivers really run the bank all the way at the top, and we've kind of seen a little bit of a trend developing here with that. And you can see Tyler McCory, same thing. He's on a mid, almost low line, and then right there, Charles Ng attacks, but then he makes a pretty sizable mistake coming across the inside here. Tyler's putting up a big smoke cloud here that Charles is trying to navigate through. And as Tyler leaves the exit here, you can see one more time Charles is going to attack. Tyler does not get into that outer zone. So Ryan, lead run from Tyler McCory, chase run from Charles Ng. Compare for us.
Not ideal from Tyler McCory. Like you said, he was off of outside zone 1 considerably. He was down by that yellow line, actually. So the front of his car was pretty close to the line, if not right over it. And then Charles did make that mistake at inside clip 1, but he had amazing proximity all the way through outside zone 1, really mimicked Tyler's line and angle and everything through there, so that was really strong for him. So he's got one little thing against him in inside clip 1. Tyler was off of both zones, so right now Charles has to get close to both outside zone 1 and outside zone 2, put a really dynamic transition through at inside clip 1 to really outdo Tyler's lead run.
Now Tyler McCory, taking into account they're 2-1. Charles Ng taking out Tyler one time before, as Tyler McCory has defeated Charles Ng twice out of their 3 battles going against each other. So Charles Ng will lead. Sogan Motorsports, Team Orange, Achilles Radial G37. And Charles Ng from Hong Kong as the Danville, California native. All right, we have a red flag down there on the start line. Seems that something is up. So as, again, Charles Ng, no fault there, no strike. All right, so and here we go again. Charles Ng will lead. McCory give chase. And here we go. Charles out front. McCory giving chase. Charles, a late initiation. Tyler McCory. Look at him. Mirroring the angle. Nice job by Ng, throwing more angle out of towards the end. How are they going to transition past that first front clip? And McCory snappy with it. Throws it in. Is that going to end up hurting him? Stays in the angle. An interesting approach here from Ng and McCory.
Well, really interesting on the initiation, Jared, as we see that Charles Ng will take the lead here. McCory tucking in behind. McCory kind of opts for a pretty early entry there, and Ng a little bit later. Now they have the 3-2-1 cones, and as long as they're initiating Pat before that point, that's acceptable for the lead driver. You can see McCory as we come down on the inside, surges forward, puts some angle in the car to slow it down, but then it causes him to fall back a little bit here. Meanwhile, Ng out front, trying to stay deep into that zone. Ryan, do you see anything in particular here that sticks out between the 2 drivers on run number 2?
Well, Charles initiated very late. It's never a good sign when the chase car initiates before the lead car. The chase car initiated in the right place. I would say the lead car was past the beginning of the outside zone, which is late because you're supposed to initiate by that last white and red marker on the wall.
So there it is from the judges, and that's from my naked eye on knee-jerk reaction. Yet, like you said, it's never right. Like you said, Lontaine, it's never good when that chase car initiates first. So Charles Ng, Tyler McCory, slide him left for Ng, right for McCory. The Rock, Tyler McCory advances on into the Great 8. So real quick, before we move on to our next battle, Lorette Nickel caught up with a contender for the top 3 in the 2016, finished 4th last year. Lorette and Odie Bakshis.
All right, Odie, I just wanted to pick your brain a little bit on a track like Irwindale. What's going to be rewarded out here?
Well, the most technical part of the track is the bank, and that is where you get the most points. There's actually the bank's divided into 2 portions, and you get a ton of points in one and a ton of points in the other section. So it's the toughest part, yet the most rewarding.
What's going to be the biggest challenge going up against Forrest Wang?
Well, Forrest is a good driver. He's driving in a vehicle that is not putting down as much power as his usual car. So I'm just gonna have to adapt to whatever he throws at me, And I feel like with Forrest, it's always one of those adaptations I gotta have. Either a lot of angle or even more angle, and the speed just varies. It's all over the place. So it could be a handful, but I'm up for the challenge.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lorette. Good luck to you, Odie. You're going against Forrest Wang, who qualified 3rd. As Forrest Wang, he had a bye run. This is the first time he's doing battle in this backup car, this S14, as Lorette had some words with Wang. And Odie Bakshis, again, finishing 4th last year, wants to better it, get up in the top 3. Mathematically outside of the Formula Drift Championship. As Bakshis got through Pat Gooden. And there it is. You can see Odie taking out Forrest Wang 5 times. 5 times. Undefeated against the 808 of Forrest Wang in the Get Nuts Laboratory S chassis. Wang on the start line, waiting for the Falcon tires on the ARC Performance Fuel Suspension Hyundai Genesis Coupe to be warmed up. Odie with those bright green drifts wheels, ADT wheels, giving out their 1-of-1 Mustang RTR to a California tire dealer. Congratulations to that ADT wheels. RTR 1-of-1 vehicle winner, Ramona Tire. As Forrest Wang will lead. Again, he qualified 3rd. And Odie Bakshi's qualifying 14th. You can see Forrest waiting, spinning a rod yesterday in his vehicle, and then getting his backup vehicle, Odie Bakshi's, in the Hyundai Genesis Coupe, proving that it could run a season. Last year he campaigned, got 2nd overall in the World Championship as he went to Japan, and proving that that Genesis Coupe could definitely take it to the top. Here we go. Forrest Wang initiates. Odie Bakshi's in tow. Not as much angle, but there. Narrowing the gap, Forrest Wang. Big angle from Wang, now coming to that second rear's clipping zone. Is Odie wavering, making some correction. Wang dialed in. Boom, right on that front clip and out to outer zone. Forrest Wang. And that Get Nuts Laboratory S14.
Well, after that 3rd place qualification in basically his backup car, certainly doesn't seem to be phased too much against these other professionals here. You can see Wang, big angle on the bank, pretty decent job in terms of being close up near the wall. Odie trying to stay with him here, a little bit of separation coming into inside clip 1. Odie surges forward, he has to make a slight adjustment there. You can see lacking the angle a little bit as Forrest stays pretty consistent through that lower section of the bank, nice and tight on that last inside clip, and then right out there. So Brian, from your perspective, Odie Bakshi's and Forrest Wang run number 1. Any advantage there?
Forrest Wang really didn't misstep at all throughout that entire run. He put big angle at outside zone 1, great angle at outside zone 2. He put just the right amount of angle at inside clip 1. In the past, he's had an issue with throwing too much angle at those inside clips, but he's really managed to do a great job here today. He was a little low on angle near the finish slightly, but Odie really kind of stumbled in the chase position. He made a lot of corrections. He lost angle almost entirely a couple of times, so he's really going to have to clean it up for his lead run, and we'll see what Forrest can do chasing him down.
Here comes Odie Bakshi's out front. Forrest Wang in the chase position. As you said, Lantain, how is Odie going to handle this out front? And Forrest, look at that, matching it up, initiating. Whoa! Odie Bakshi, what is going on here? Let's take a look at this again. It seemed that Odie had a problem initiating. Was there contact prior to the initiation?
Wow, lots of crazy stuff happening here, but we'll go back. It's all going to come down to this one section, obviously. As we take a look at the second run, you can see Forrest is surging forward, but it seems to be because Odie was slowing down. I mean, that's on first face, just looking at it on the replay there. I would ponder a guess that maybe there's a little bit, you can see the backfire from Odie's car. Not necessarily synonymous with something going wrong, but certainly evidence for. So as the judges take a look at the review, you can see Odie tries to initiate. Forrest was coming up pretty strong. I mean, my guess is that maybe something happened to Odie's vehicle.
Yeah, it definitely looked like that, and then Forrest goes into him. This is the good angle. Boom, boom, boom. You see him kind of throw it out, and it corrects and it counters. All right, so the judges taking a look. So Odie on initiation tries to throw it in, and it just backs down, and Forrest had nowhere to go. I mean, he tried to initiate as well. So we are getting word from the Bakshi's camp of the Arc Performance Field Suspension Falcon Tires Genesis that Odie did break. So they are saying that, yeah, we broke, we had an issue, and right?
And that is super uncommon for a team to say that. Usually, though,
you would hope that would not be the case, but just, yes, I broke. It's my fault.
Well, that's a tough break for Odie, unfortunately, and Forrest will have a big opportunity here. Didn't have to finish the second half of the run, and he will move on into the Great 8.
And here it is, make it official, slide him right for Forrest Wang. The O'Reilly Parts Shop title fight, sponsored by Gum Out. There it is. Forrest Wang advances on. So Forrest Wang advances on to the Grade 8. He's going to do battle against the winner of our next pair. And this is all the eyeballs, including Chris Forsberg in his camp and the Formula Drift World. Matt Field in the Gears of War 4 S14.5, the 777. He's coming off a victory. You could see that Frederick Osbo is undefeated against Field, but you have to think, Ryan, that, and there it is, Chris Forsberg watching on. Forsberg and Turk.
Well, it's obviously, Jared, every battle from here on out until
the finals.
Basically moving into second place is going to be a must-win for Frederick Osbo. Just looking at the points here, we see Chris Forsberg starting off with 507 points after qualifying. He ends in the top 16, which is basically 32 points, which gives him 539 total. Osbo has 470 with qualifying. If he makes it into second place, he'll get 80 points, and that puts him at 550, which would be 11 points ahead of Forsberg. If he gets knocked out in the final four, he would get 64, and that would put him just short of Forsberg's total.
Also, Vaughn Gittin Jr., he finishes the season with 462 points. Odie Bakshi's 452. So we definitely need to take a look if Bakshi's, with his points, we'll take a look overall. Again, this is all unofficial. As
if Osbo makes it into the final four, he'll be 5 points short of overtaking Forsberg if he gets knocked out in the final four.
And that's if he gets third place or fourth place. And remember, he's qualifying, but third and fourth get the same amount of points. But here we go. Matt Field, the Gears of War 4, Falcon Tires, S14, Frederick Osbo, championship implications on the line. Matt Field initiates. As I said, undefeated, 5-0 is Osbo against Field. But the gloves are off, and the ammunition and the momentum is on deck with Matt Field throwing into that second rear clipping zone. Some wobbling into the second. Frederick Osbo poised right there on the door. Look at Osbo closing in as Osbo. We're seeing some contact firing off. What just happened as everybody is watching this battle and what's going down?
Wow, well, Osbo certainly pressing the action here. Now remember, the momentum in terms of wins is in Matt Field's corner, coming off a strong victory in Texas. Now you can see he's pretty high on the bank here. Osbo is staying with him though, and Osbo seems to thrive in these pressure conditions. Now as we get down on the lower bank here, Matt's going to have a little wavering. Osbo's keeping him in his sights. Now this section of the course here, Osbo's going to close. There's the first set of contact, and then Matt peels out of it. So on first face, it does seem like Osbo was a little bit over-aggressive there.
So taking a look at the reaction of Chris Forsberg and obviously his Drift Alliance brother, Ryan Turk. Seeing what transpires here. The judges, Eggert, Lantain, and Yen, seeing what transpired. Let's take a look at it again here. Ryan's.
So if you look at the track right here, the updated map that we showed in the drivers meeting today, this right here is the slowdown area. There's a very small sliver just before inside clip 2. So that is a denoted slowdown area. We're not expecting them to get hard on the brakes or really slow down severely. It's an area where you might downshift, maybe lift off the throttle, throw a little bit more angle to slow the car down, just to get into that inside clip. So we're just trying to see here what would have caused the contact at this portion of the track.
So a big hit here. Osbo knew who he was going against. As you said, the momentum for Matt Field coming out of Texas, coming into this round, gaining a new sponsor, getting some eyeballs, rounding out a season, the Beast from the Bay. He came into Irwindale with just a lot of excitement as Matt Field, 5th coming into Irwindale. So a lot to prove here. So Ryan, I hear you conversing with the judges, Ryan, Brian, and Andy.
Yeah, I'm not conversing with them. I'm just just hearing a little bit of the conversation that's going on in each of the. Because what we have to do when there's collision or contact is they actually have to give fault just in case there's repairs that need to be made to one or both of the vehicles. We can see Osbo's at the line, and we'll have to see what's going on with Matt Field.
So right now we are seeing what's going on. Ryan, you're talking about the collision. So as we're trying to completely find out what's going on here. So as we are taking a look at this, Ryan, there's some dialogue going around here, and basically, we've seen dudes bang doors before, continue on through the course. It looks good. Matt obviously fell out of drift, but somebody needs to be at fault because there is some damage.
Well, we expect there to be rubbing, or contact from time to time. And 9 times out of 10, there's no real damage to the car other than anything superficial. But sometimes, if you have wheel-to-wheel contact, you might pop something, even though it's light contact. And if that's the case, and there's damage to the vehicle, then fault does need to be assessed. And from what I'm hearing from these guys, looks like that they are going to give that to Osbo, which would mean that Matt Field would have not have to use a competition timeout in order to fix his vehicle until that time would run out. But that might mean that we will have to hold here until we are able to determine if he can get back to the line. Otherwise, we will start off going into the Grade 8 with Daijiro Yoshihara and Yuha Rintanen.
So Matt Field is allotted time to take a look at his vehicle, inspect it, make sure he's on it, and that does not utilize his competition timeout. So Matt Field, hands on the car, competition timeout not being utilized. He still has that in his back pocket. Frederick Osbo was deemed at fault. So if he wants to get hands on his car, the competition timeout would need to be utilized. So right now, let's gather our thoughts. Let's see what transpires. Huge implications here as far as how this championship is going to unfold. We told you the scenarios as far as Osbo. He needs to get to the finals, second or first, to get the 2016 championship. If he does not advance any further than third place, Chris Forsberg right there would be your 2016 champion. The ball is in Frederick Osbo's court. We'll see if the Norwegian Hammer can drive it home. But right now, it's all about Matt Field pulling to the line and see if he's able to run and do battle against Frederick Osbo here in the top 16. When we return, the O'Reilly Auto Parts title fight, sponsored by Gum Out. Here we are back to the starting line. Field ready to do battle. Frederick Osbo, he is back as well. All eyeballs on that Rockstar Energy Drink, SR by Toyota TC on Nexen Tires. Can Matt Field duplicate the magic that he saw? He was the lone star, the highest driver finishing in Texas. Can he do it again? He's seen red from his signature neon yellow. Now to the Gears of War 4 livery, Falcon tires on the corner. Here we go. Frederick Osbo out front. Matt Field in chase in that first rear clipping zone. Goes Frederick Osbo. Matt Field, some wavering. Not matching the angle that Frederick Osbo has right now. Matt Field zeroing in. Osbo, quick transition into the second outer zone. Here comes Field working in. Lacking some angle, but gets back into that second rear clipping zone. Dialing in. Now on that last front clip. Osbo and Field cross the finish line. So this is for the championship. Chris Forsberg's face says a lot of things.
Well, if Frederick Osbo loses here, Chris is your first ever 3-time champion. If Osbo wins here, he's got a little bit more work to do. But as we take a look at Osbo out front of the lead, he does a really good job here. Just misses that first inside clip, but he stays deep into the second outer zone. He did a nice job on the big bank. You can see Matt struggling a little bit, but surging here towards the end. But it's all going to come back to that fateful contact that we saw in run number 1.
So, again, it bears repeating. Chris Forsberg out, waits in the wings right now. If Frederick Osbo loses here, Chris Forsberg is your 2016 Formula Drift Championship and champion, presented by Blackview Dash Cameras. If Frederick Osbo advances, he still has more work to do. Are you ready, drifting world? Is Osbo advancing? Or is Chris Forsberg your 2016 Formula Drift champion? Andy, Ryan, and Brian. Andy says Matt Field. Ryan says Matt Field. Brian says Matt Field. And Chris Forsberg is your 2016 Formula Drift champion. Frederick Osbo is knocked out. He is second overall. And there it is, folks. Ryan, a crazy turn of events as Chris Forsberg waits in the wings. Things unfold. It's been a tumultuous season of coulda, shoulda, woulda, and sometimes fate, your fate is left in other drivers' hands, and that was the case here this evening. Chris Forsberg, Pat Mordaunt get into a tussle. He goes into the wall. Now Frederick Osbo pushes hard into Matt Field. Ryan Lontaine, was that the deciding factor for you and the judges, that first battle of Osbo and Field?
Yeah, absolutely. That's, Field did not have the nicest chase run. He made quite a few corrections and mistakes, but it doesn't equal to 0, which is what Osbo had on his chase run. So there's nothing much you can do in that situation. In a way, our hands were tied. It's a 0 against a few little errors, so Matt Field takes the win.
So also, Ryan, it does bear repeating. There it is, as Forsberg gets in there with Matt Field. That also makes Chris Forsberg your Formula Drift World Champion, as we saw him earlier at Okayama in Japan. So, again, Forsberg, there he is, going and congratulating and just giving us some sportsmanship. All right, now I throw it down to Lorette Nickel, who is with our 2016 Formula Drift champion.
Well, you guys can imagine that it is crazy down here. Chris Forsberg, congratulations.
Thank you.
I heard you say, why did I do that? He made it so difficult on himself.
I know.
This was not easy.
It wasn't, and we felt great. We felt calm and collected all weekend, and there's just some things you can't expect to happen out on track. I mean, it just happened to Osbo as well. It's been an insane weekend if you really think about it, with all the different buys and engines blowing and cars wrecking. I'm not the only guy out here to have a unlucky weekend, but luckily we had a great season building up to this, and so we had a nice buffer coming into the final round, and so took home the championship.
How much hard work and dedication does this championship represent?
It builds up throughout the entire season, and there's never just one specific event, obviously, because we had a kind of bad event this weekend, but, it's a buildup of the entire season and just a great drive from the entire team. The car's been on point, and, we've been doing this for a while, and we love it, and we just want to do the very best we can to put on the best show possible.
You're sitting against the wall with some of your teammates, some of your closest friends. Can you even verbalize that pressure?
No, I can't. There's more pressure sitting there and watching it unfold in front of you than it is to be in the car. Absolutely. I mean, I get more shook up watching the other contenders run than I do sitting in the car, because in the car is where I feel most comfortable. And just when it's out of your hands, it's not the place any driver wants to be. But like I said, the buildup of the season put us to where we are to have the position to win the championship, and thankfully we had enough to take it all the way.
Chris Forsberg, congratulations. You are the 2016 FD champion. Congrats. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Lorette, and congratulations. There is your first ever 3-time Formula Drift champion, and there it is. The head hangs low and then gets raised up by his friends and teammates, as Chris Forsberg is your official 2016 Formula Drift champion and your first ever 3-time Formula Drift champion. Ryan, a culmination of a season, you know, again, Osbo, ups and downs, Forsberg, ups and downs, and he did it without ever winning an event. Unbelievable. And here he gets knocked out way early.
This is certainly something I did not expect at all in terms of the way that the top 32 laid out, the way that it played out tonight, how the guys have been driving, how Chris won the championship, when Osbo got knocked out, what happened to Von Gittin Jr. That is way beyond anything I could have ever thought possible, and it's one of the things that makes the sport amazing, is it just always throws you for a loop.
I have to contribute it to the progression of the sport, the drivers, the vehicles. You know, I don't want to say the saying every dog has its day, but that's just what comes to mind right now, because these guys are dogs in a way. They're, you know, it's not the fight of the dog. It's it's not the size of the dog. It's the fight of you know what I'm saying. You can't fool me once. I'm joking. All right. So moving on. Here we go. Daijiro Yoshihara. Can he make it a perfect event? Turn 14 distribution. Falcon Tire. Subaru BRZ. Yuha Rinton initiated some wavering, but Dai Yoshihara doing it again. What he did earlier yesterday and today. Dai Yoshihara into that second outer zone. Some gap here from Dai Yoshihara. And now Juha Rintanen trying to close that gap, but Dai, he is possessed right now. Daijiro Yoshihara.
Well, for what we've seen so far, Daijiro Yoshihara looks like the guy to beat this weekend. #1 qualification spot and very consistent lead runs. You can see a tiny bit of wavering after initiation, but he's been running that same high line all the way through. Juha trying to chase him down. You can see separation right there at inside clip 1. Juha tries to surge forward on the inner bank. Dai keeps in that bay for the majority of that bank as Juha tries to close here on this last inside flip. So Ryan, from your perspective, Daijiro Yoshihara of the magic here tonight?
It looks like it. He's really putting the car in all the right places. He looks really confident in every area on the track. There's nowhere on the course right now that he looks unconfident, where he looks unsure of himself. So he's able to throw the car pretty aggressively everywhere he needs to. He's looking really good at inside clip 1. And even in the chase position, Juha had a bit of a hiccup right there because he's having a bit of an issue at inside clip 1. So we're going to see what he does in the lead position. And it's going to be all about how Dai adapts to what he's doing while in the lead position. So let's see what happens.
What I think stands out in my mind, Lantain, is how Dai is executing that last outer zone. I think that just really defines the car control he has tonight.
And that defined his qualifying as well. That's what gave him that high score, is the way he rode that yellow line coming into outside zone 2. No other driver was doing it like him, and he was able to do it in a really confident manner, and he's still doing it tonight.
And the car just seems so settled. So here we go. How's he going to do? As you said, Ryan, in that chase position, Juha wavering, some wobbling, but Dai Yoshihara seems to be rock solid. Here we go. Slide or Daijiro Yoshihara is giving chase to Juha Rintanen from Finland. And Juha takes that middle to high line, as Ryan Sage says. And there's Dai Yoshihara right there on that back wheel transition. A shallow transition. Here we go. It's where it's getting hairy here throughout this event. And Juha, good angle, but Dai Yoshihara maintains his composure. He's right there on the side of Juha Rintanen and powers through the finish line. If you don't give it to Dai, man, just write it down. That's it.
Well, he came out strong in the second half of the run. He needed a good chase run, even though he had a strong lead. He starts off right here by following the line that Juha wanted to dictate. He stayed on him, even though Juha was on a low line that moved up high. Now he attacks on the inside here. Now remember the separation between Dai and Juha on that inside clip. You can see Juha here trying to stay deep into this zone, but Dai is following him wherever he goes. He attacks very hard right there in that last inside clip. Just falls back for a second, but I think he did enough through the majority of the course to make a convincing case.
D-A-I, Dai, short for Daijiro Yoshihara, a former Formula Drift champion. He is your #1 qualifier. Can he continue on and make this a perfect event? He's going to the Final Four as he takes out Juha Rintanen. Daijiro Yoshihara gets the victory and is in the Final Four. Also notable, if he loses in this battle, at minimum, Dai Yoshihara will get 3rd place since he's in the finals. His 3rd place is dictated by the Hara qualifying driver in that consolation round. So here we go. We are now seeing our second battle of the Great 8. Patrick Mordaunt and Justin Pollock. Look at Pat Mordaunt taking out Von Gittin Jr. He takes out Chris Forsberg, and now can he take out Justin Pollock? Look, they've only done battle. That's surprising to me. Only one time before. Pollock with that 60.7% winning average. You know, the way Pat Mordaunt's feeling, he's feeling like he's invincible, right?
Well, at this point, I really don't know what to expect for the rest of the event, because this has been really one that's been very difficult to predict. A lot of crazy things have happened here, but we've got Dye already in the Final Four. He's guaranteed at least third place. Mordaunt and Pollock, Turk and Tyler McCrory, and Wang and Field rounding it out. Field having that win in Texas, obviously looking strong there, and Wang with that third place qualification in his backup car. You know, we've seen crazy things from him, and he's been on the podium here as well. And then Turk and Tyler McCrory should be a barn burner for sure.
Yeah, and Turk hasn't seen a battle yet, and he's in the grade 8.
Yeah, he's been pretty relaxed all day.
Yeah, I mean, the car looks good. It's the cleanest car in the field. So here we go. Justin Pollock will be out front. Pat Mordaunt in the chase position. Blazing a trail into that first rear clipping zone. Pollock throwing it in. Pat Mordaunt, middle line as Pollock works it higher. And Pollock transitions past that front clip. Here comes Mordaunt. Pollock in that rear zone. Pat Mordaunt wavering. Oh, and a big correction there from Pollock. Fighting back.
Well, here we go on the replay, Jared. Justin Pollock and Patrick Mordaunt. Pollock smoking it down the car. You can see he had that little kind of hiccup in that initiation. We saw that a little bit earlier, but he was able to initiate prior to the last point there. Pretty deep line, heavy line for Justin Pollock. Patrick Mordaunt really attacking, but struggling to kind of find the same line as JTP. JTP a little bit of wavering there. Big Engelman pulls him out. Pat makes a mistake right there as well. So a couple mistakes from these drivers down on that lower bank, Ryan. And this is one of those things where I guess you kind of just going to have to weigh each mistake against itself, yeah?
Yeah, we're going to have to see what happens on this next run right here. This is going to really give us an idea of what mistakes are going to be comparable from the leads and the chases. It looked like they were making a lot on this run. Justin was not settled at all. You can see his car was kind of wavering all over the course. So a lot of corrections made by him, and then we had a couple of corrections and almost straights from Pat in the chase position as well. So let's see what happens as they go for the next run.
Pat Mordaunt will lead. Drift Paddock, Falcon Tires, Koenig Wheels, 350Z. Justin Pollock, Roush Performance, Falcon Tires, Weld Wheels, Lucas Oil. Here we go. Pat Mordaunt throws it in. Justin Pollock, you see him initiate, have to correct here. Pat Mordaunt past that front clip, and Justin Pollock goes in backwards. Ryan Sage, Pat Mordaunt definitely had some mistakes. It was not the cleanest, but right now is Pat Mordaunt gifted a victory here with an unfortunate spin from Justin Pollock in that chase position.
Well, anytime a chase driver spins, the lead driver still needs to finish the run because they are not impeded by anything. And it looks like Pat Mordaunt was able to do that pretty successfully. But let's look at how Justin, he loads up in one direction, and then as he rotates, he's not able to make the transition into the inner bank. Mordaunt sailing through the inner bank now into this inside clip in that last outer zone. Looks like he's going to be moving on to what, off the top of my head, might be his first Final Four of the year.
Yeah, first Final Four of the year. As now, here we go, going to the judges, and there it is. Pat Mordaunt gets the victory. Pat Mordaunt is going to the Final Four. He has to do battle against Daijiro Yoshihara. As we are now seeing our next battle, Ryan Turk versus Tyler McCrory. Ryan Turk, Tyler McCrory. Tyler McCrory warming up his tires. As you can see, 2-0 Turk defeating Tyler McCrory. Look at the average winning percentage, 60.6 from Turk, 56.9. 850 horsepower versus 710.
My back spasm.
2013 in yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. Right now, it's all about Ryan Turk. So Ryan Turk, Tyler McCory. This is the first battle that Ryan Turk, in his O'Reilly's Gum Out Hankook Tires Nameless Performance SR by Toyota 86, is seen. Tyler McCory, his road to getting here is going through Cameron Moore after one more time. He went against Charles Ng, which is an interesting battle. And now here's McCory with Turk. And look, we got McCory, Pat's in the Final Four. They got their big heads on the roof of their vehicles. We'll see if that brings them any luck. So Ryan Turk qualifying second. And I would say, you know, unfortunately for Ryan Turk, if he gets the victory, Daniel Shahar would best him. So no guarantees at all. And definitely the way Tyler McCory's driving, he's fierce, he's aggressive. Ryan Turk will lead. Here we go. We'll see if that color green gives him some luck. Thrown into that first outer zone. Ryan Turk goes in. Tyler McCory. Mid, working it, massaging it up. Nice job by McCory and Chase. Ryan Turk transitioning past that front flip in the second zone. Turk getting out to the outside zone. Tyler McCory bringing it out to in or in to out. Second hash mark on that front flip. And the closest one to the wall in the outside zone.
Well, a well-rested Turk seems to be having no cobwebs here on the first run of this battle with Tyler McCory. You can see he initiates here pretty decent on the bank, nice and high, getting at the butt of that car right up against that wall, maybe about 6 inches off here. Good transition into the inner bank as Tyler McCory has a little bit of separation from Ryan, trying to close the door here, but Ryan is drawing a good line here. He's staying wide, doing what the judges want you to do, and then right there on that opening hash mark, that first hash mark on that outer zone, seems like Ryan is running the right line.
Yeah, he's had a couple of buy runs to get comfortable with the track tonight, I guess, and he's did the same run pretty much all 3 times, it looked like. Really high on the bank, looked really good on outside zone 1, and then just off a little bit on inside clip 1, and he entered outside zone 2 a little bit late, but other than that, really close on outside zone 2 when he did get on the wall all the way through. Really clean run. You know, McCory in the chase position wasn't terrible. He did have a couple of little flubs. You know, he wasn't, in terms of proximity, on him as well as he could have, and he did get into outside zone 2 much later than Turek did. So Turk's going to have to do a great job in the chase position, but McCory's got a big role to fill in the lead. He needs to get really high in outside zone 1. So let's see what he's able to do now.
Here's Tyler McCory. Mobil 1 of Falcon Tires, Chevrolet Camaro. Ryan Turk on Hankook Tires. Ryan Turk, a lot of video and a lot of video content being made. Tyler McCory, a lot of steering wheels in his hand, from desert racing to a sports car and obviously drifting. Here we go. Tyler McCory throws it in. Ryan Turk in chase. Tyler McCory, big angle, mid to high line. Keeps it about the midline as Ryan Turk keeps it in the pocket. Into that second outer zone. Man, Tyler McCory with that really gangster flick into that outer zone. Ryan Turk low line in that outer zone. Off. Oh! Ryan Turk holds on to it. That was nerve-wracking for Ryan Turk and his team. Let's take a look at it again.
Well, you can see Tyler McCory taking the lead here, opening it up. In the second run against Ryan, he's very, very low on the bank here. Now Ryan Smart stays with him on that line, but right there you can see a little bit of separation here. McCory doing a better job on the inner part of the bank. Ryan Turk closing pretty heavy here, trying to get as close as he can, but then right there he's just going to make a tiny, tiny mistake and not follow Tyler through the last turn into that final outside zone. So Ryan, from your perspective, was that mistake towards the end big enough to offset run number 1?
Well, if you're really going to analyze lead for lead, in terms of outside zone 1 and outside zone 2, Ryan Turek was much deeper in those zones. These are big points areas on the track when you look at the qualifying side of things. 20 points in each area for line and angle, so these are very important spots on the track, and Ryan Turek was able to fill them much better in the lead position.
Here we go, Tyler McCory, Ryan Turk, slide him left for McCory, right for Turk, and there it is, unanimously. Ryan Turk gets the win and advances on to the Final Four in that O'Reilly Auto Parts Gum Out Hankook Tires Nameless Performance SR by Toyota 86. Our final battle of the Great Eight, Forrest Wang, Matt Field. This could go any way. I mean, this is a pretty exciting battle. Forrest Wang winning 1 out of the 3 times. That means Matt Field 2 times out of the 3. 1,063 horsepower, to be specific.
Yes, very specific. Well, I love Matt's quote. You know, he says, if I didn't think I could win, I wouldn't get out of bed in the morning.
Right.
And he is here to make his mark. It took him a while to get his first win, but when he did, it was definitely a magnificent one. That was last round in Texas. And now here he is fighting for yet another Final Four berth and making a charge towards the last 2 events of the season to put his stamp on 2016.
He came into this round 5th overall in points. I mean, he could shake things up, and I think this is great momentum, not only, you know, from Texas to here and seeing how he does, but I think this is a testament to, you know, getting things serious and you know, joking and just about his attitude and his whole deal. I mean, if you've seen any of his interviews, and he's pretty candid. He's a young man, and you know, he's creating a brand. His driving speaks volumes, but I think this is great momentum even into 2017.
I think so, yeah, and he certainly has developed the right posture and with his team and understanding what he needs to do with his program, and then allowing that program to take his driving to the level that he would like it to go, because he is such a raw, talented driver, and being able to have the vehicle that can accommodate that, and now those things coming into equilibrium, you know, the sky's the limits for him.
So right now we are seeing Ryan Turk being pulled off. It seems that he gets the victory, but the car would not start. So, oh boy, the plot thickens for Ryan Turk. So we tow him off the course, and it seems that he will be seeing what transpires here as Dai Yoshihara, Pat Mordaunt, they're on one side of the Final Four. Right now, Ryan Turk get towed off. He's about to find out who he's going to be going against. Forrest Wang or Matt Field. Forrest Wang leads on this first battle. Matt Field gives chase. Get Nuts Laboratory, Hankook Tires. S14. Matt Field. 2 definitely schools of thought as Wang initiates middle line. Matt Field in tow. Transitioning into that front clip. Big angle from Wang. Matt Field gaining proximity into that outer zone. Wang going back and forth. Oh man. Sage, what stood out in your mind?
Well, a pretty solid run from both guys. Let's take a look at the minutia here as we start off with Forrest in the lead position. You can see a little surging attack on initiation from Matt Field. Forrest is a bit low on the bank here, and that certainly is going to be something to pay attention to on Matt Field's lead. Forrest is able to secure a little bit of a gap past inside flip 1, and then Matt here is able to reclose that gap as they leave the last section of the inside bowl there, leading into outer zone number 3. So Ryan, any takeaways there from run number 1?
Well, it looked like Wang was pretty low on outside zone 1. He was down near that yellow line. I think the front tire was pretty much right on the line or just above it. So that's quite a bit off of outside zone 1. He was off of outside zone 2, although not quite as much as outside zone 1. So for Matt right now, he's got an opportunity to do a really good job on those zones to really set himself apart from Forrest.
So Forrest Wang having 4 podiums overall, 3 of them third places, all at Irwindale. 2013, 14, and 15. All third places here at Irwindale. So he knows his track, he's confident with it. You know, not in the ideal car as he spun, again, the bearing in his vehicle, and unfortunately his S15 that he was campaigning all year, not able to run. But right now he's looking pretty strong, but Field's going to try to knock him down in this Gears of War 4 Falcon Tires. Black Track Performance S14, and a huge disparity here as Matt Field throws it in. Forrest Wang very low on the bank. And that Gears of War 4S chassis really just showing some muscle here in that rear clipping zone. Matt Field working it in, and Forrest Wang falling back. And Matt Field just flexing and showcasing his Gears of War 4 vehicle.
Well, not sure what happened here, but you can see that Matt gets an incredible jump on Forrest out of the gate. And he really does not give it up, because Forrest, you can see, is even on a lower line on outer zone 1, and he's really unable to close the distance in order to really put up a fight against Matt out front. Now Matt is going to have a pretty decent line coming through outer zone number 2 on the inside bank here. He's going to miss that inside clip just by a little bit, but with that gap, Ryan, I have to imagine that that's a really big challenge to overcome on run 2.
Definitely, and if you look at the outside zone 1 area in particular, Matt was much higher than Forrest was on his lead, and then in the chase position, Forrest was way below that yellow line, so not looking good for him.
So here we go, going to the judges. Field or Wang, slide him left for Matt Field. Matt Field, your number 6 qualifier, advances on to the Final Four. Now at this time, Lorette Nickel, our Final Four is set, and we have obviously Ryan Turk and Matt Field on one side of the Final Four, and on the other, Daijiro Yoshihara and Pat Merdaunt. Lorette Nickel caught up with our Final Four competitor, Pat Merdaunt.
Pat Merdaunt is moving on to the Final Four, and it's been since 2013. So Pat, what are your expectations moving forward?
You know, I just, we've been on fire all weekend, and I just want to keep the momentum going. You know, we had a few hiccups earlier in the season, so just really trying to make up for everything in this round.
On social media, you said practice was a little bit rough. There was still room for improvement. Do you feel like you've been able to accomplish that?
You know, I'm still not really happy with where I'm running. You know, I think there's, again, still room for improvement. You know, I could get higher on the bank, a little deeper into outer zone 2, but whatever I'm doing is working, so I guess I'm going to stick to it.
Pat, good luck.
Thank you.
Look at that smile. That says it all. The awesome possum and juice box, whatever you want to call him. Right now, he's a Final Four competitor. We haven't seen him since 2013. And like I said, if you didn't hear me earlier, coming into the paddock yesterday, he dressed the part. He looked slick. His loafers, his kit, he just looked strong. He looked like a male model, man. He looked great. And I said, look good, feel good, drive good. And I think he's going to dress that way all season next year. But it's not over yet. Dai Yoshihara, Pat Merdaunt, they're one side of the Final Four. And then Ryan Turk and Matt Field, when we return here to O'Reilly Auto Parts title fight, sponsored by Gumout. This is the final round. We've crowned a champion, but we haven't crowned a winner here at Irwindale for the final round of the Formula Drift Championship, presented by Blackview Dash Cameras. When we come back, the Final Four is upon us. Welcome back. The Final Four is here. And Dai Yoshihara and Pat Merdaunt are on the start line. Warming it up is Falcon Tires. Both these guys on Falcon Tires, as Dai Yoshihara and the Turn 14 distribution. Falcon Tires, Arc Design, turbocharged LS Subaru BRZ going against Pat Merdaunt. Look at that, they're 1-1. Out of the two battles, they are tied, 50-50. Look at that winning percentage, 40.6 for Pat, and a great winning percentage, 61.8 there for Dai Yoshihara. Here's the start line. Again, the Final Four, the Blackview Final Four is here. Regardless, Dai Yoshihara, number 1 qualifier, will get at minimum 3rd place if he goes this consolation battle. If he advances to the finals, essentially Ryan Turk will be guaranteed at minimum 3rd place. So here we go. Dai Yoshihara on the start line. He will lead. Patrick Merdaunt will be giving chase. And the red lights illuminate, extinguish, and we're ready to send it here at Irwindale and the drifting world. Dai Yoshihara down the straight into that first rear clipping zone. Dai Yoshihara, can he make it a perfect event? Is he going to the finals? Big on the bank. Pat Merdaunt dropping down. Still keeping proximity, but just not mimicking that big bank that Dai Yoshihara, I mean, he is just possessed right now. Turn 14 distribution Subaru BRZ. Dialing it in. The Momo steering wheel in the hand. And it takes, I mean, textbook. I think he's got, I mean, he's got a dial. It's like basically an automatic car.
Yeah, I mean, once again, he just continues to build on this momentum that he's had from qualifying yesterday. He's doing the same line where he kind of starts off mid-high and then he really peaks up towards the end there and puts a little exclamation point out. And then down below as well, you can see, nice job here. Now Merdaunt is closing the door. He's trying to stay on the line, but Dai is setting out front, maintaining the pace as best as he can. But Dai has just been really consistent as a lead driver, and that's very Frederick Osbo Osbo-esque. Osbo has defeated many a foe by just going out and laying down a very, very hard to beat lead run and then leaving it in the hands of the other driver.
Yeah, just kind of like, all right, see what you got. See what I did right there? Your front row. Your front row. So Dai Yoshihara being on the podium in Atlanta earlier this year, and very emotional. Dai, you know, it was good to see him back on the podium. You know, he's a former Formula Drift champion. As now, again, Pat Mordaunt going for his first ever podium. He hasn't been in the Final Four since 2013. So here comes Pat Mordaunt out front. Dai Yoshihara in chase. Pat Mordaunt initiates. Dai Yoshihara, oh buddy, he hasn't. He's dropping down here, but now past that front clip. Pat Mordaunt putting on a clinic himself out front. Dai Yoshihara, great proximity. Riding the, whoa, my goodness. Make some noise for Pat Mordaunt and Dai Yoshihara. Oh, doctor.
Well, here we go. Taking a look at the replay here. Pat Mordaunt leading the way as Daijiro Yoshihara tries to chase him down. He's going to get off to a good start here, but you can see Pat is much lower than Dai was in his lead position. Now, Dai makes a little bit of a mistake there as he approaches Pat on the big bank. But remember, we compare lead to lead, chase to chase. Now, Pat gets down on the lower bank here. You can see he does a much better job. Stays a little bit deeper there, but Dai is right on his door here, just a few feet away at one point, and then closing it to just a few inches. So, Ryan, from your perspective, run 1 and run 2 in the books, who's got the advantage here?
The way Dai did that lead run was very, very impressive. Like you said, just repeating the same run over and over again, really consistent. He had a little flub in the chase, but overall, great proximity. And Pat was just a little bit lower on outside zone 1 and 2.
So let's make it official. Patrick Mordaunt, Dai Yoshihara, and there it is. Daijiro Yoshihara's going to the finals. I'm gutted for Patrick Mordaunt. Another 4th place finish for him, as podium has escaped him, but I want him to hold his head high. Definitely just a great guy, great young man. Definitely seen him you know, do well over the years. So Ryan Turk, Matt Field, our next battle. Ryan, Matt Field, we were talking about him earlier. A great victory, just an impactful, memorable moment for him in Texas as we take a look back.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was against Vaughn Gittin Jr. that he really cemented kind of the momentum throughout the night there. He battled hard, was very, very consistent, especially in the chase position. And, you know, he did something that not a lot of drivers can do. He forced an error on Chris Forsberg in the finals in the first turn there. And you can see here up against Kristaps Blues, blazing fast was Matt Field. You can see how tight he was to that inside clip, and really just showed the skill level that he has. He put on a really solid chase against Chris, just with very few minor mistakes. And then in the following run, Chris tapped him coming into the first turn here, and that was pretty much all she wrote. Here's that little tap that put Chris out of competition. Matt Field stayed on it and followed all the way through to his first podium in Formula Drift.
Yeah, it's amazing to see that. Taking a look at Ryan Turk.
First place.
So Ryan, as you see Matt Field there, you can see the emotion. Just a very, let's call it confident driver there in Texas of Matt Field. We are getting word that Ryan Turk is calling a competition timeout. That's a 5-minute allotment. And Ryan, interesting, on that last battle, Ryan Turk and Tyler McCory, don't know if the fans saw it, finishes out the run. There's Ty, little fist pump, a heavy exhale there for this Turn 14 distribution, Falcon Tires, Arc Design, BRZ. He's got the undefeated hat on his head, which is a sneaker store, a brand in itself, undefeated. And can he go undefeated tonight? #1 qualifier. Can he take it to the top? He only has one more driver to go through to live up to the undefeated title tonight. So really quick, we throw it down to Lorette Nickel, who is with the driver just spoke about, Daijiro Yoshihara, 2011 Formula Drift champion. Lorette?
Dai, congratulations. So you are moving on. How did you put it all together?
I don't know, I just did my best. You know, it's been really crazy, right? The track is super grippy, everybody having a hard time. So, might not be the best run yet, but I'm gonna try to do my best in the final run, and hopefully everybody likes my round.
Okay. You obviously have your team moving around your car. Mike is in the front of it. Car was smoking a little bit. Everything okay?
Yes, the smoke is from some of oil left over, so it should be good. Yeah.
Good. Best luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lorette and Dai Yoshihara. You can see under the hood of that beast. Look at that thing. I mean, seen some, looks like they're just cooling it down. So Ryan Turk is still under his competition timeout. When we come back, it's Turk and Field on the other half of the Final Four, and Dai Yoshihara waits in the wings when we come back here to the O'Reilly Auto Parts title fight, brought to you by Gum Out. This is the Formula Drift Championship presented by Blackview Dash Cameras. So crazy turn of events here. Look at the Nameless Performance crew working and thrashing on his car. He's got now less than a minute. You can see the clock down there on the ground. 45 seconds. 45 seconds. This is how we began the season for Ryan Turk. And I mean, just last season. Thank you. I'm just recounting his white suit and working on it, getting the pumpkin out of the car. But here we are. Every second counts. We saw, unfortunately, Matt Field. He got to, or sorry, not Matt Field, but Mad Mike Wadette couldn't get his car started. So I don't know if this is going to happen. I mean, you could see the clock there just behind him. I'm seeing 17, 16. I think, unfortunately, Ryan Turk. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and there it is. The clock has expired. The 5-minute allotment for the competition timeout, and Ryan Turk and his O'Reilly Auto Parts Gum Out SR by Toyota 86 comes up just a bit short, but he does get on the podium due to his number 2 qualifying position. And thankfully for him, Dai Yoshihara won that battle because he was number 1 qualifier. He would have trumped him, but Ryan Turk gets on the podium for the first time this year. So for the first time this year, he hasn't been on the podium since 3rd at Wall last year. So Matt Field will advance on and go to the finals.
We'll talk about, an event of attrition. We've seen a ton of that here today. Drivers not able to make it to the line, crashes taking him out of competition. But now we find ourselves in the finals with Daijiro Yoshihara and Matt Field. I'm not sure how many battles these guys have met together this season or in general, but certainly Matt has a win. Daijiro Yoshihara has a podium at 2nd place in Road Atlanta. So certainly both drivers looking to end on a high note here in 2016.
So Matt Field, Dai Yoshihara, they are in the finals. This is a bye run. This is a bye run for Matt Field. As Matt and Dai have seen battle against each other 4 times overall. And here's a War of 4, S14.5. Can he continue with the magic? An all Falcon tire finals here. As Matt Field transitions, this is a good opportunity for him to just get one more go at the pass before the finals. Seems like he's just airing it out, making sure the car is up to snuff. I know he had some issues, basically coming in on Thursday in practice. Their valve cover gasket got sucked in and actually clogged the fuel, and it starved it of fuel. He turned it off immediately. If he wouldn't have done that, he would not be in this position. So fortunately for him, he reacted properly, shut it down, and salvaged the car. So again, Matt Field coming off of a victory most recently at our last round in Texas. He took it to the top. Dai Yoshihara having a podium earlier this year in Atlanta. When we return, we'll get some fresh tires. Real quick, let's check this out. Laurent Nickel caught up with 2nd overall in the Formula Drift Championship this year. Your defending champion in 2015, Frederick Osbo. Laurent?
We're back in the hot pits, and maybe what you guys didn't see, Frederick Osbo jumps out of his car and goes straight to Chris Forsberg to shake his hand. You are a great sport, even though I know you must be so disappointed.
Obviously, I want to break the necks on every single one of these guys, but Chris absolutely deserves it. He has been so consistent all year until he wasn't anymore tonight, but it's a lot to ask for, from all these drivers and cars to keep it together weekend after weekend. And tonight I fell for my own hunger. I wanted it a little too much. Ended up plowing into Matt's side right there. I was given the fault, and that was all she wrote.
Well, speaking of gum out and Ryan Turk, Lorette Nickel caught up with our third place finisher here at Irwindale. Lorette, down to you.
We saw Ryan Turk get the win against Tyler McCory. You crossed the finish line, and then what happened?
It was actually, we had 2 good laps against Tyler. Can't thank the crew enough. We had a really good setup on the car this weekend. P2, we really coming into today feeling like it was our day. So this is a little crushing, but yeah, we crossed the finish line on the chase lap. And right as I got my front tires around towards the finish line, it was the car just kind of shut off. I had no power, and I was lucky enough to still keep it sideways across the finish line and still get the win. So, this far down a bracket, you really have no time to turn the car around and figure out what's wrong with it. So we had to call our 5 minutes immediately. Nameless Performance guys thrashed. We checked the logs. We figured out what we thought it was, which was the crank sensor not syncing with the rest of the engine, so it wouldn't fire the coil packs. And we changed that, and it still wouldn't fire over. So we're not sure what it is at this point, but we ran out of time, unfortunately, and we're still on the podium. I was just thinking the silver lining is the car's still in one piece at the craziest track of the season, and we're going to celebrate with some champagne. So it's not all bad, but definitely not the top step.
All right, well, how do you start approaching 2017?
It's already been approached. I mean, 2017, we start planning for that, probably really in Florida, where we start chatting about what we should be doing for next year, and that's really based on car setup and how things are going in the beginning of the season. Then we start writing down what we want to do and things that, goals to achieve this year. And if they don't get achieved, then that's stuff we finish off in the off season. So just really pumped. Overall, it was a great year, both on track and off track. We learned a lot. The team has never worked so well together ever. So second year with Nameless Performance, and my hat's off to them. The guys gave me a great car every time, and the big sponsor Gum Out this year, and doing all the different livery changes. There's really a lot of cool things that we accomplished this year. So it's not all just results sometimes, even though any driver wants to be on the top step no matter what.
Ryan, thanks.
Thank you.
Welcome back as the finals are here. Dio Shahar warming up his Falcon tires, and Matt Field, he is just strolling over to the burnout box. If you haven't picked up your limited edition Formula Drift shirt, pick it up now. ShopFD.com. Basically commemorating the title fight Irwindale Championship. You can see on sale now at ShopFD.com. Title fight Irwindale Championship t-shirt. Go to ShopFD.com. Dio Shahara there on the start line. So as you can see, Dio Shihara. All right, so interesting turn of events here as Dio's on the start line. Tires are warmed up. So look at this, Ryan. We are to see them to the line. Boom. That means they're calling a competition timeout. So Ryan, we're seeing less than 5 minutes, and it is do or die for Field.
Well, it seems like after 7 brutal rounds, these cars seem to be on their last leg, pushing it. And Matt Field just did a buy run there, so not sure what could have happened to have the team cause something on the vehicle to break, but nonetheless, here we are, 4 minutes starting and 3 minutes and 55 seconds left here for Matt Field. I have to imagine that he will make it to the line, and hopefully it's just something minor, but seeing a lot of attrition here this weekend.
All right, so less than 4 minutes left here for Matt Field, seeing the hood lowered. When we come back, Field's gonna warm up, as is Dye. The finals are here. Who's gonna get the victory here at the House of Drift? Welcome back as Dio Shahar warmed up his tires, but they got cold while he started standing on the line. So now he's going to heat up his Falcon tires, and we will continue with the finals here at the O'Reilly Auto Parts title fight, sponsored by Gum Out. Seeing the stats here, they have gone against each other 4 times, with Matt Field winning 3 of those 4. You can see the stats as far as horsepower, vehicles, and Matt Field just coming off that victory in Texas. His first ever podium and a win at that, excuse me, second podium. He won in 2013 as well in Texas. Daiyo Shihara grabbing a podium most recently in Atlanta this year, a second place finish, and again, notably the 2011 Formula Drift champion. The way he's driving, can he make it a perfect event? Our number one qualifier, Daiyo Shihara, against Matt Field, who qualified 6th. That has no bearing on how these gentlemen are going to drive now. Daiyo Shihara initiates. Great driving, not all the way up there, but then works it up. Matt Field right there on the door. That's Subaru BRZ. Now into that second rear clipping zone. Here goes Field. Surging forward right of the door. Daiyo Shihara, solid lead run. And Field makes contact and spins. Similar, almost similar to that he received from Frederick Osbo.
We'll take a look at this again here. The finals underway. Finally here is both drivers going back and forth. Maybe a little bit of gamesmanship there in warming up the tires. But you can see Dai once again with that really solid high line there. Not all the way up against the wall, but pretty solid. Now Matt is going to attack on the inside here. Great job taking a little bit of a shower line to get that proximity. But right here as he surges forward, he's going to tap Daijiro Yoshihara right there, and he's going to fall out of drift. Now we saw that happen similarly with him and Frederick Osbo a little bit earlier in the bank area. So now we'll just inspect Daijiro Yoshihara's car, but assuming that he comes to the line without.
Yeah, I mean, you look at those names again. He is 2011 Formula Drift champion, and Daiyo Shihara, thankfully, timing-wise, pulls to the start line. This is the finals. You want to make sure you're tight and right. But Dai saying, I'm good. Let's do this. Let's send it for the final time of the 2016 season, potentially, if you don't go one more time. But right now, Matt Field, you saw the contact there. He got into the side of Daiyo Shihara. He spun out. Dai continued on through the course. So now Field will lead. Field going for his 3rd podium ever in history and a 2nd this season. Here we go. Let's get ready to send it here. Irwindale and Formula Drift World. Send it! Matt Field, Daiyo Shihara for the final time of the 2016 Formula Drift Championship season, presented by Blackview Dash Cameras. Oh, and Daiyo Shihara, a big mistake. So was him not checking out his car. Unfortunate for him. Now, Ryan, this is where you start to think. Matt Field has the contact. He spins. Let's call it what it is. You can only tell the future by looking at the past. And Matt Field spun out. That would be a 0. Daiyo Shihara spinning out. That'd be a 0. Let's take a look.
Yeah, I think you're right, Jared. I mean, pretty much that seems to be the way it's going to play out. You got that contact that caused Matt to spin, and it looked like it was on Matt. Now, you have Dai unable to initiate, and to me, that clearly would be, 2 double zeros in the chase position. So they can look at the lead runs and compare the lead runs. Ryan, is that right? Ryan, you guys can compare the lead runs, right? Because those were finished runs. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what we're looking at right now, potentially doing. We're just going to review some of the replay from the first run to see what we had in that run for us to make a decision on that.
So basically, just the idea here is if you have 2 zeros in the chase position, the lead runs can be compared. If you have 2 zeros in the lead position, they cannot be compared because the run stops when the lead zero chase. The lead driver zeros out. Now in this case, we have 2 zeros in the chase, so they can evaluate the 2 lead runs.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, because the lead car would impede on the chase car, so you're at the mercy of that lead car.
Yeah, in this case, both drivers in the lead had nothing impeding them, so they were able to complete the full run of the course, and as such, we could judge those runs.
Okay, so we might actually have a verdict here after just some wackiness and zaniness. So, again, Matt Field making contact with Daiyo Shihara around that final front clip. Daiyo Shihara continuing through the course, and then here they are side by side. This is a great comparison here. So you see Daiyo Shihara leading on the left, Matt Field leading on the right.
So we're going to be looking from the judge's perspective here of the better of the 2 lead runs. Who is it going to be, Matt Field or Daijiro Yoshihara? Who ran the highest on the big bank? Who was closest to the inside clip coming down? Who was deep into this second outer zone here? Was it Daijiro Yoshihara or Matt Field? Now, obviously, Dai is not a factor in the second run in the chase position, but we're just looking at the 2 leads here.
Yeah, and you also have to take into consideration that contact there. It looks like Dye got in that front clip, but then you almost have to default or just kind of null and void that last outer zone, like, strike, you're out. So as we are about to find out if we have a verdict here, do we have a winner?
And one of the big things for me that I was looking at is Matt Field tends to lift at inside clip 1 and not stay on throttle through there, which is not what we asked him to do in the driver's meeting.
So here we go. Let's go to it, and I believe it's going to go to OMT, because if we didn't, and there it is. So 2 OMTs, they're going one more time. They're going at it again. And when we come back, Irwindale never ceases to amaze us. All right, almost culmination of a 13th season of the Formula Drift Championship. Matt Field, Dai Yoshihara. Got to say, Matt Field got a lucky break there as Dai. I think he should have inspected his car, but felt comfortable in it. When we come back, the finals will be here. Falcon Tire, Essence in the air. Field and Yoshihara when we return. Welcome back to the Formula Drift Finals. O'Reilly Auto Parts. The title fight, sponsored by Gum Out. The finals are here, and this is a one more time battle, or these gentlemen are preparing for the one more time battle. That being Dai Yoshihara, #1 qualifier, and Matt Field. Speaking of Matt Field, Lorette Nickel caught up with him. Lorette?
Matt Field, you and I both got a 0. How do you ensure that doesn't happen to you again?
We're supposed to be driving smart out here, and I just totally misjudged his speed across the inner clip. Made a mistake. It's not going to happen.
Best of luck,
guys.
All right, so as you can see there, Matt Field just focused, zeroed in, and just misjudged it. I mean, there's been some crazy driving here, some antics, and yeah, as Field and Yoshihara. What is it? Okay, so as we are waiting for our 2 final drivers, and you got to think as Dai Yoshihara 100% as. All right, so Lorette Nickel caught up with Dai Yoshihara.
You and Matt both get a 0. What happened to you?
When I lead, my lead run was good, but I think he spun or he couldn't finish. He hit me. It wasn't too bad, but he hit me. When I followed him, right after initiation, I think my belt just cut off. So no power steering, no coolant, but I just couldn't keep the car sideways. So I just stopped, and I wasn't sure what was going on. But luckily, he made him in first run, so we got one more time.
Okay. Thanks, Dai.
Thank you.
All right, welcome back. As you can see, they're working on Dai Yoshihara's turn 14 distribution Subaru BRZ. Taking that hit definitely shook things up for him and his team. And I can see Matt Field off in the distance, warming up his Falcon tires, and Dai Yoshihara. I think that's a universal signal for let's go, let's do this.
And just looking at the contest manifest, it looks like Dai has not used the competition timeout. So you wonder if he would have done it before that last run, would we see this one more time? So.
But I mean, Matt Field is at fault. So yeah, I mean, but if he wanted to, he could have stopped and looked at his car because the contact would have been Matt Field's fault.
Yeah. So interesting, to note that if he does not win here tonight, might be looking back at that. But second chance for both drivers. Matt with the contact. Dai not able to initiate. So we'll see what happens here as we continue the wackiness that is Irwindale Speedway.
Yeah, and it's a wild event, and we were talking about it, amongst ourselves. We haven't seen the drivers really throw it into that wall and drag the bumper. I mean, in years past, we've seen what, and I don't think it's actually, the track design or anything, because that obviously the bank doesn't change. The cars have progressed; they're gnarlier. I think they're just kind of modulating and toning it down a little bit. I mean, what do you kind of contribute to? What's your assessment, Ryan?
It's hard to say. You know, because we've seen so much attrition, and you know, I've heard from other teams that, you know, after a very long season, we had the added event. You know, a lot of these cars that have basically been beat up, you know, crashed into. I mean, so much of drifting is basically repairing your car. You know, whether it's through use or crashing. So, you know, that could definitely play a factor. But here we are in the finals. We're going on a one more time battle here, 10:13 p.m. on a Saturday night. It's Dai and Matt Field.
Here we go. Dai Yoshihara will lead as our number 1 qualifier. You can see them getting set there. Matt Field. Here we go. Dai Yoshihara, Matt Field. Cameras are on the car, and we are ready to send it. You can see Dai Yoshihara tapping the brakes. Here we go, and you can see that the light and we are just crowd controlling here as far as some media and some folks. And thank you for your patience. Dai Yoshihara, Matt Field. And here we go. And we are clear to send. And here we go, Dai Yoshihara out front. And Matt Field chooses to get a little bit of a jump here on Dai Yoshihara. Let's see how he handles it. Dai Yoshihara. With that contact, we saw a lot better on that initiation, that chase position. Looks like he worked it out. Dai high on the bank. Field dropping back a bit. Nice snappy transition by Yoshihara, filling that on his own. Field. Oh, and Dai Yoshihara goes into the wall. Matt Field, a wide swing, but Matt Field powers through.
Well, let's just continue the trend of
and he has a competition timeout. Right?
So Daijiro Yoshihara starts off strong here. He's doing the same run, nice and high on the bank, reaches out there. Matt closes the door coming off the bank. A little bit of separation here on the inside. Dude. Now let's watch Dai as he tucks up in here. You can see he's going to start squeezing towards the wall, and then right there, the front wheels turn straight and he crashes into the wall. Here it is again, coming through the fence line here. You can see good perspective there. Dai's wheels come straight, he goes into the wall, and Jared, I would guess that probably had something to do with the contact that maybe did not get fixed, and unfortunately, it's probably going to be a tough situation to overcome, because now Matt Field's in a position that if Dai does use his competition timeout, he only has to just have a scoreable run.
Matt Field did use his competition timeout. Dai Yoshihara has not.
Yeah.
And he did have that time in between the one more time to get hands on the car. There were rumors that he's going to potentially utilize it. And I think there was a missed opportunity for Dai Yoshihara after that first battle with the contact. He should have stopped, parked, looked at the car, but he felt comfortable, you know, kind of working it left and right in the burnout box, felt comfortable, and went back out there and ended up flubbing on his chase run. So now Dai Yoshihara is just moments away. I mean, he has that mistake, he has that deficit, so Matt Field has the advantage here. Now and as you said, when I was like, oh man, Matt Field almost straightened out, you're right, it wouldn't have mattered because the mistake was out front as Dai Yoshihara squeezes his way, and he made his car right-hand drive in the offseason. He said that contributed a lot to his success, especially in Atlanta. But Yoshihara, see if we can get it started back up or maybe get it towed off. And that wheel, that Momo steering wheel comes off the car and looks like taking off his arm restraints here. So Yoshihara, we'll see if we'll see him back in the battle or if he's going to surrender. Also, guaranteed Ryan Turk third place. Who's going to get the win, Field or Yoshihara? There you can see his smile. But we'll see if Yoshihara can make it back here and compete. So, and we are seeing Yoshihara there, and I believe that's going to be all she wrote. I'm seeing that. So we saw the thumbs up previously from Dai Yoshihara, but right now you saw the throat chop. You saw the we're out. So I believe that means it will be a back-to-back victory. A back-to-back victory for Matt Field. But don't quote me on that. Again, don't quote me on that. Ryan, we are hearing it. It is official that Dai Yoshihara is out. That means Matt Field is your victor. Matt Field wins here at Irwindale. That's back-to-back victories. That Gears of War 4 Falcon Tire S14.5 goes back-to-back with victories. Most recent in Texas and now here in Irwindale. And Dai Yoshihara grabs second. Ryan Turk will finish out in third. So we'll bring them some portion down here on the track. Also join us at the podium where we'll be awarding 1, 2, and 3 for here in Irwindale, as I just described, as well as the Gears of War 4 prize. That's the highest finishing driver running a Gears of War 4 windshield sticker, but coincidentally, it is the Gears of War 4 car that ran that and finished the highest. So not only does he win $2,500 courtesy of Gears of War 4, but also a limited edition Xbox One Gears of War 4 Xbox One. So, as we are rounding out here, it's been an exciting evening here. Let's see if we can get those 3 drivers. All right, so we're buying some time here. We'll get Dai Yoshihara and his BRZ off the course. And we might have Matt Field do a bye run, a celebratory run in this instance. It's been an interesting night. Just taking a look at the path for Matt Field. Matt Field started off going against Kenny Moen. He defeats Kenny Moen. He goes through Frederick Osbo, which then defined our 2016 champion. Then Field navigates past Wang. Then, unfortunately for Turk, unable to fix his car, so Field advances, and now Field and Dai in the one more time battle. Dai goes hard into the wall and having to retire, unfortunately. So Matt Field will be your winner here at Irwindale. Dai in second and Ryan Turk in third.
Well, Jared, we're seeing Matt Field come to the line to show that his car is functional. That will be his victory lap here. He will come down to the front. We'll try to grab Dai and also Ryan Turk and give you your 1, 2, 3, and then we'll meet everybody at the podium to crown your world champion, your domestic champion, and 1, 2, 3 here tonight.
So there's Matt Field taking that celebratory low and slow Gears of War 4 S14.5 on Falcon tires. And there it is. Some celebratory donuts from your winner here at the House of Drift, Irwindale, California. Matt Field takes it to the top in his Vortex Supercharged LS S14.5 on Falcon tires. Matt Field goes back-to-back from Texas. He's the Lone Star, and here in California, he comes out on top once again. A repeat customer for the 777, the Beast from the Bay, taking it to the top once again. And there it is. You could see Matt Field pulling up. And there it is. You could see Dai Yoshihara stepping out of the golf cart. Matt Field taking his time getting out of the car. So here we go. We have our final two, and we'll join our third place finisher at the podium. So third place here at round 8 of the Formula Drift Championship, the O'Reilly Auto Parts title fight, sponsored by Gum Out, is the Gum Out driver. Ryan Turk grabs third place here at Irwindale. Now your winner here at Irwindale, California. Again, the O'Reilly Auto Parts title fight, sponsored by Gum Out. The Formula Drift Championship, presented by Blackview. Your winner here in Irwindale, the House of Drift, Matt Field in the Gears of War 4 Falcon Tires S14.5. As the fans and crawling the fence, a moment that a lot of the drivers definitely want to do. It was a cage match here in Irwindale, the House of Drift. And with that being said, his car on a flatbed just behind that of Matt's. You see it back there. Second place for another podium this season. That's a second podium for him and another second place in the Turn 14 Distribution Falcon Tires Subaru BRZ 2011 Formula Champion Daijiro Yoshihara. Second place here at the House of Drift, Irwindale, California. Right now, I throw it down to Lorette Nichols with our winner now. Lorette.
Thanks, guys. Matt Field, congratulations. 2 in a row. Man, talk about the challenges that you faced driving against Dai.
Dai's a killer driver, and unfortunately for me, he's on Falcons too, so he's just as fast, just as ruthless. I guess he had a problem with his power steering, but I mean, that was shaping up to be one hell of a battle.
So we're the last round. There is so much going on. How do you keep your focus when so many things around you are happening?
I guess that's why we do what we do, and we're good at what we do. I just try to tune everything out, talk to my spotter, talk to my crew, get my head straight, just take a second, take a deep breath, and hammer down.
All right, 2 rows, 2 wins in a row. What does that say about your driving?
I don't want to say it. I mean, let the points figure it out. I mean, I'm pumped. I can't say enough. Thank you to everybody. We'll see you next year.
Matt Field, does anything change for 2017?
Who the hell knows?
All right, we're going to let him celebrate with his team. Jared?
Thank you, Lorette, and there you go. Like I said, some momentum as he gets a hug from his dad, Mr. Field, and his team. Congratulations, a great victory for him. There's Dai Yoshihara again down there. Well, Ryan, any closing sentiments? Just a wild event.
Well, this has certainly capped off an incredible season, with starting off in Long Beach with the win from Chelsea DeNofa, moving into a win from Von Gittin Jr., and seeing some of the old guard rise. A title fight coming all the way down to the wire with 4 guys, and then one by one going out. Chris Forsberg, your world and domestic champion here, and then Matt Field really making his presence known with the win in Texas and then capping it off here at Irwindale Speedway.
Well, the O'Reilly Auto Parts title fight, sponsored by Gum Out, the final round of the Formula Drift Championship presented by Blackview Dash Cameras, was one for the books once again. On behalf of the whole Formula Drift staff, my co-host Ryan Sage, all the judges, thank you for an exciting 2016 season. That's the 13th season coming to an end for the Formula Drift history book. My name's Jared Deenda. We'll see you next year in Long Beach as we kick off another Formula Drift season. We'll see you online, or we'll see you another time. Send it, Formula Drift.